About this yesterday, John. He hit 199 last year.
Amazing.
131 games, but he did have 22 homers.
Runner goes. The throw by Murphy is in time. He overslid the bag. He was safe, Ruggiano, and he overslid the bag, and Perella had the presence of mind to keep the tag right there. A good job by Jose. Ruggiano had it beaten. The throw was high by Murphy. I'm looking at it now. I just wanted to get a read. And he was tagged. Then he came off the bag and was tagged again. So caught stealing 2-4. Nothing across for Seattle. End of 2. No score on the WFAN New York Yankees radio network, driven by Jeep.
In New York.
The first pitch of the third, and Drew takes a pitch low. And the count 1-0.
Here's the answer to today's trivia question, brought to you by the Samsung Curved SUHD TV, available at Autorama.
The 1-0 is grounded to second. Robbie will flip to first, and there's one away.
It was Mike Cameron who lined out to right field to end Game 5 of the 2001 ALCS.
I could not have answered that.
Couldn't have either.
No idea. Well, one away. Hey, Montgomery is pitching okay. That is not odd. Lefties like Montgomery, who the Yankees have never seen, have historically pitched pretty well in their first start. Now here's Brett Gardner. Drew, by the way, the pitch is a strike. Speaking of low averages, when Drew made out, he was hitting 160 with 5 homers and 15 RBIs. That's about as low as you'll ever see a position player hit. The 0-1 is a breaking ball outside 1-1. Gardner grounded to short his first time. We are scoreless on top of the third. Of course, last night against perhaps the best pitcher in baseball, certainly one of the top 4 or 5, pitches fouled off. King Felix retired the first 9 Yankees on 21 pitches. Then he gave up 2 in the 4th and 5 in the 5th. Isn't that amazing?
That's a good word for it.
There's the 1-2. Low outside, 2-2.
Montgomery pretty much just going fastball curve. And they had hoped, he's pitching very well. They would take it as a plus if they could get 5 innings from him. Might get more if he continues to pitch like this.
The 2-2. Breaking ball missed inside. 3-2. In the outfield, Ruggiano is very shallow and near the line. Now actually moves up a couple of steps, moves back a couple of steps, and moves a little over toward left center. And here's the payoff to Gardner. And it's foul, third base side out of play. And the center fielder Jackson's over in left center. That I can understand. Ruggiano could be caught. Gardner has a little more power than you think. Now here comes the payoff pitch. Swung on and lined deep down the right field line, going foul. Over the sidewall in the first rows. Gardner gets a new bat. Well, Yankee fans, there's another team of professionals in the Bronx with all-star talent. Workman's Circle Multi-Care Center. Quality care close to home. Call 718-379-8100. Pitch fouled away. Or on the web at WCMCC.org. We will be on the air tomorrow with you at 3 in the afternoon, straight up. And then the game at about 3:35. Here's the 3-2. Fouled away. And then the Yankees fly home. Yay!
We have to count up how many. I know it has to even up. I was talking to Joe Girardi about this today, John. I said, I know it's got to even up, but have we been on the road the entire first 2 months of the season?
3-2. Fastball is outside. Gardner walks. It does seem like it. The Yankees opened up at home for a week. And since then, remember that stat? They're going to play 25 of their next 35 games away. And you can see it, feel it.
Well, Lloyd McClendon didn't like that call at all, screaming at home plate umpire Mike DeMuro.
It was a fastball away. Gardner just held up. And the ball, let's see, that was outside. On the overhead anyway. Of course, everything looks outside.
Well, I think he's saying that he swung.
Oh. Well, here is Chris Young, 1-on-1 out. And the pitch is a strike. That's the first walk given up by Montgomery.
You know, Zunino tried to ask Randazzo to help him, and no go.
Yeah, he signaled no swing. It'll be an 0-1 to Young. And the pitch inside, and the count 1-1. There's a fastball all the way in.
Now we'll see the second time around if this makes any difference. Joe Girardi telling me before the game, we're asking, I said, why don't the Yankees ever hit, no matter who it is, a guy making his debut that they've never seen before? He said, well, the second time around you do a lot better.
There's a wild pitch in the dirt, back to the screen, and Gardner goes to second. That ball was straight down.
The reason being because you can see the films, and the films that they take at AAA aren't so hot anyway. But you can see the film, but you really can't tell until you're watching it where it breaks, how it breaks. Is it a late break? Is it an early break on the breaking ball? Does the fastball have a spin on it?
Now Gardner off second with one out. It'll be a 2-1. Swung on a high pop. In shallow right, Morrison in foul territory makes the catch. And that is the second out. So foul pop to the first baseman. TUE with a runner at second. And here is Alex Rodriguez. A-Rod, who has an 11-game hit streak, fly to right his first time. So Gardner leads off second with 2 out. And the pitch is in the dirt. Ball 1.
92-mile-an-hour fastball. Nice stop by Zunino. Zunino, a very good defensive catcher. Lloyd McClendon saying how good he is defensively. You got to hit a little. He did have 22 homers last year, as we said.
Well, here's the 1-0, and it missed outside 2-0. That may have been his change. Off-speed pitch anyway. So A-Rod ahead 2-0. Outfield straightaway, and infield, just about straightaway. And here's the 2-0. There's a strike on the outside corner, 2-1. If you're wondering about the booing, he left Seattle so long ago. I don't know how they can remember, but he left. He took a 10-year contract at $25 million a year, or $250 million in total. The 2-1. That's foul, first base out of play.
I got to tell you, it's funny you said, I don't know how they can remember. A young writer who covers the Mariners, a young guy, I don't know who he is, asked Joe, he said, well, Alex got treated rather rudely by the fans here. What do you think of that? And Joe said, well, I guess you weren't here the first time he came back in a Yankee uniform. The kid was probably 10 years old when that happened. And I remember Alex telling someone in another city, you guys, I guess you haven't been around. My whole career has been one long boo.
It'll be a 2-2. And the breaking ball is low inside. 3-2 on A-Rod. Well, I joke about it. I mean, that's the fans' right and all. And Alex has so many things that you boo: his looks, his talent, his money, etc. And he plays for the Yankees. What a combination. But now here comes the 3-2. Gardner off second with 2 out. But in reality, how many people would turn down $250 million? I mean, please. Now Gardner leads off second with 2 out. Here's the payoff. A half swing. Did he go? No. So A-Rod walks. And boy, you think the Seattle dugout was angry before. Man, are they angry. And here comes McClendon, and he got thrown out of the game. McClendon ready to argue with Will Little, the first base umpire, and he gets thrown out again.
Well, you know, he was ready to explode on the Gardner walk. And he came out. He is really letting first base umpire have it. Will Little, he's really screaming.
Well, you'd think he was angry before.
Just threw his hat.
Now he's kicking his hat.
Oh, that's a Billy.
McClendon, I mean. Now going to the home plate umpire, Mike DeMoro. They have lost both decisions on check swing.
You know what else?
Now he's going out to the third base umpire, Tony Randazzo.
All right, now here's why he's doing this. He threw Mike Zunino out. If you throw the catcher out, Zunino's not on the field. So he probably came out if he threw his catcher out, that's why McClendon came out.
Right. That's the second time. Don't you see, he put up two fingers in front of Will Little because they missed the first one, he feels, on Zunino, and missed the second one on Alex.
See, now here's what I don't understand, and he's going to get a standing ovation. McClendon's protecting his catcher, and I don't blame him. Here's what I don't understand, John. Why in the world now the home plate umpire Mike DeMuro, I don't know what Zunino said to him. Nobody saw it. He didn't show him up. He probably said something we didn't know. No one in the stands knew. How about giving him a warning before you throw your catcher out of the game?
I didn't see Zunino thrown. He obviously was thrown. So the new catcher is Wellington Castillo.
Well, that's why McClendon came out. We're looking at it again.
It was close, boy. Alex, I mean, that was close to being a swing.
Okay, now, you know what? All Zunino did was point at the first base umpire to ask for some help on whether he swung or whether he didn't. And he walked down the line, and the first base umpire, Will Little, threw out Zunino. They got a little short fuse out there. That's why McClendon came out. Because he threw his catcher out without any warning. Just threw him out. We're looking at it again. Alex either swings or doesn't. Zunino's walking down towards the first base, pointing at him, and now he just gives him a sign like, what? I got thrown out? Why?
So here is Teixeira with 2 on and 2 out. Gardner at second, A-Rod at first. The new catcher is Castillo. And the lefty deals. Line hard down the left field line. It is a base hit. Going to the left field corner. It'll be extra bases. Gardner scores. A-Rod goes to third. They'll hold him there. It is a ribby double by Mark Teixeira. And the Yankees take a 1-0 lead. So Teixeira rips a double over third down the left field line. You know, I thought the ball was going to go foul. He hit it so hard that it stayed fair. Second and third 2 out, and here is Chase Headley. That is Teixeira's 40th RBI. And the breaking ball is low. So in 1/3 of a season, all he has to do is have 45 homers and 120 RBIs. Possible. Chase Headley grounded to short his first time. It'll be a 1-0. Now, after Castillo came in, there's the 1-0. There's a strike. After Zunino and McClendon got thrown, I didn't see Zunino got thrown. Susan did. They all met at the mound, you know, obviously to placate Montgomery. Imagine this kid being caught in this storm. There'll be a 1-1. And that's pop foul out of play. First base side, and the count 1-2.
Yeah, well, you couldn't blame him if he got a little revved up after that into the double, but he seems to have calmed down. That's part of it. But the other thing is, he's got a different catcher. And my guess is he hasn't worked with them. He wasn't with them in spring training. Well, neither was Castillo. But I'm sure he's never worked with Wellington Castillo.
1-2 is cut out of missed. Headley strikes out. Then the Yankees settle for a 1-run, 1-hit, and leave 2. And now the end of 2.5 innings of play. It's 1-0 Yanks on the WFAN New York Yankees radio network, driven by Jeep.
Hi.
Now 10-second station ID on the WFAN New York Yankees radio network.
Top 3 in San Diego. Padres lead the Mets 4-1. Tony Page follows the Yankees on WFAN and WFAN-FM New York.
To the bottom of the third, and CC deals a slow breaking ball to Wellington Castillo. Remember, Ruggiano was caught stealing when Zunino was up, then Zunino was thrown out. So here is the right-handed hitting catcher, Wellington Castillo, came over from the Cubs, and he takes a pitch low, 1-1. John Sterling, Susan Waldman here at Safeco. Yanks have a 1-0 lead, bottom of the third.
We are coming to you live from the Sunoco broadcast booth. Sunoco, save 5 cents on every gallon instantly with your Sunoco Rewards credit card.
1-1, cut out of missed. On a fastball away. Let's see what Castillo has done. Well, he just got here. He's 2 for 20 with no homers and 2 RBIs. Now here's the 1-2. Strike 3 is called. See, you know the old line, so-and-so, didn't like him from the last movie? Well, Gardner checked his swing. They wanted a third strike on Gardner, and he walked. And then when A-Rod almost went around, that was just too much. So there's one away, and that will bring up Austin Jackson, who doubled down the right field line his first time. And the pitch is low inside, 1-0. Sabathia is 1-0. Jackson takes a breaking ball strike, and the count 1-1.
Did you ever think how someone like Wellington Castillo must feel? He's got to be 30, right? 30, 31. He was with his Cubs his whole career. They finally are starting to get good, and they trade him.
And here's the 1-1. Swung on and line to left field. Gardner, Young charges, drops the ball. Jackson around first, holds on. Young dove faceward, got his glove on it. They're going to call it a base hit. So Jackson is 2 for 2.
Well, Young dove for it. Actually, he just missed it. He was even with the ball. The glove was just not where the ball was. The ball
it was headed toward the pocket, but it glanced off. Well, anyway, it's a base hit for Jackson, his second straight hit. Here's Willie Bloomquist.
He kind of hesitated on that. Didn't go straight for it. Maybe had a hard time picking it up off the bat.
Sabathia deals, swung on a high fly to left center. Gardner and Young. It's Gardner to make the catch in deep left center. And Jackson, who was already to second, gets back to first. And there are 2 away. When Chase Headley struck out to end the top of the third, that was the 15th out of the game, brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on your car insurance. Call Geico at 1-800-947-AUTO or visit them at geico.com. Here is Cano, who struck out his first time. With Jackson leading off first, Jackson can run. Pitch, a strike. He was caught last night. I mentioned he's 6 out of 11 in stolen bases. And if you're 6-5, you shouldn't be running. That's a very bad percentage. It'll be an 0-1 to Robbie. And Sabathia deals line like a bullet. Base hit. Right field. Jackson around second. Beltran bobbled the ball, so Jackson goes to third. So it's a hit and an error because Jackson had stopped at second base. You see that base hit by Cano? That's Robbie Cano. A bullet single to right field. So hit and error, first and third, 2 out. And here's Nelson Cruz.
And it's an error, as John said. It's a single and an error on Beltran. Varela had no chance of getting that. That ball is hit like a bullet. Beltran has been having trouble picking up balls in the outfield. We've seen this a couple of times. So in E9, it gotten back of him. He had to turn around, circle around, and pick it up. And by that time, Jackson, who, as John said, had stopped at second, easily went to third.
Yeah, that's why it's an error. Well, here's Cruz, who walked on a 3-2 pitch his first time. And the pitch is hit on the ground. Here's a base hit right field. Cano heads toward third. He'll get there. It's a base hit and an RBI for Nelson Cruz. And the ball game is tied at 1.
Nelson Cruz took a ball that was up and on the outside part of the plate. He knew exactly what he was doing with that. He's just not a slugger. I understand he's got 18 home runs. He knows exactly how to handle a bat. They're hitting .330 or over .330 now.
Here's Kyle Seager, a left-hand hitter. So 3 singles in the inning, and Seattle ties the game. First and third, 2 out. Lefty to lefty, and the pitch, a breaking ball strike. Seager struck out on a breaking ball his first time.
And also the second time around for Seattle hitters off the CC, seeing the ball a lot better. His ball's very hard hit. Bloomquist might have been the hardest hit of all, and Gardner got.
Here's the 0-1 to Seager. A high pop behind the plate, third base side. Murphy toward the dugout, reaches in, can't make the catch. Just over the railing. He was over the railing. The ball went in the dugout. And the count 0-2. One thing I will say for McClendon, who went around, to every umpire, I don't think that's the worst thing in the world. That could fire up a team. It doesn't matter if you don't hit, but it doesn't hurt to fire up the team. Sabathia will deal 0-2 to Seager. And the breaking ball low, 1-2.
I'm with you, because you can really get in a very dull state when you're not hitting. It's like you come out every day and nobody gets a hit. There's no excitement on the bench. There's no fire. He did that great. Went to everybody.
Now Sabathia's 1-2. Struck about swing, slider down and away. Seager throws the bat down. But Seattle ties it up. 1 run, 3 hits, 1 error, 2 left. And at the end of 3, we're tied at 1. On the WFAN New York Yankees radio network, driven by Jeep.
On Sports Radio 66 and 101.9 FM, WFAN, New York.
Well, here we go to the top of the 4th. We are tied at 1. Carlos Beltran will lead off. And Montgomery deals a fastball strike on the inside. Beltran singled to center his first time. And the 0-1. Breaking ball strike. Backdoor breaking ball, 0-2.
Scoreboard update is brought to you by New York Presbyterian, the official hospital of the New York Yankees since 2008. Amazing things are happening here.
Here's the 0-2. Outside wasted, 1-2.
We'll give you some National League scores. A doubleheader going on in Colorado. Colorado won the first game 6-3 over the Dodgers. In the second game, it's the bottom of the 8th. Colorado leading the Dodgers now 7-5.
There's a little dribbler foul down the third baseline.
Philadelphia beat Cincinnati 5-4. Darren Ruff walk-off RBI single in the bottom of the 9th inning there. Final in Miami, the Marlins beat the Cubs 5-2. John Carlos Stanton, his 16th homer of the season. Brad Hand gets the win. Kyle Hendricks takes the loss.
And we were in the press dining room when Marcell Ozuna had a 2-out bases-loaded double to the right center field wall to give them the 4-2 lead, and they win 5-2. Pitch outside.
St. Louis beat Milwaukee 1-0. Mark Reynolds RBI single in the second inning, the only run there. Lance Lynn gets the win. Tyler Cravey takes the loss.
2-2 foul back.
Trevor Rosenthal has 16 saves already. Arizona leading Atlanta 4-1. They're in the top of the 5th. Shelby Miller against Josh Colmenter.
2-2 grounded to third. Short hop by Seager, who throws out Beltran, one away.
In San Diego, the Padres have a 4-1 lead over the Mets. Bottom of the 3rd, Noah Syndergaard against Ian Kennedy. And San Francisco is leading Pittsburgh 2-1. They are in the top of the 3rd in San Fran. A.J. Burnett against Chris Heston.
Now one away here is Perella. He also singled. In that inning, there were 2 outs, no one on when Beltran and Perella singled. And Jose takes a strike.
Doubleheader going on in Washington. Washington wins the first game 2-0 over Toronto. Jordan Zimmerman beats R.A. Dickey.
Here's the 0-1. Grounded foul at home plate, 0-2.
Toronto came back and beat Max Scherzer and Washington 7-3 in the nightcap. Kevin Pillar had 2 homers, number 3 and number 4. Oakland beat Detroit 5-3. Ben Zobrist, his 2nd homer since coming back, and it was a grand slam.
Pitch is high, 1-2.
Boston beat Minnesota 1-0. This is why Clay Buchholz makes people crazy. You want to hear these numbers?
1-2, a bouncer, 2-2, yes.
8 innings, no runs, 3 hits, 2 walks, 8 strikeouts. And you think there's your ace. And then the next time he could come back and give up 12 runs in 3 innings.
And of course that is
it's coach killer.
As if you want an ace, consistency, like everything else in life, I guess. Here's the 2-2. It's grounded foul outside of third.
Texas beat up on the White Sox 15-2, the final there. But the story was 21-year-old Joey Gallo coming up from Double-A.
2-2, dribbled right back to the mound. Montgomery throws to first, 2 away.
Had a single, a double, a walk, a home run, and yes, he did strike out. 4 RBIs, and from what he's playing third base because Beltre went on the DL. He didn't have 1 chance at third base. Quite a debut. Single, double, walk, and a home run. 4 RBIs.
I would say that's a phenomenal debut, yes.
Yeah.
Now 2-way, here's John Ryan Murphy. Murph grounded to second his first time.
Evan Gattis and Luis Valbuena back-to-back homers, and Houston beat Baltimore 6-4.
There's a strike.
Cleveland leading Kansas City 2-1. Bottom of the 8th in KC. Brandon Moss's 9th homer of the season. And the bottom of the 4th in Anaheim.
0-1, a half swing. Well, he went, no question. And the first base umpire, Will Little, called a strike. That's why he's getting the sarcastic cheer.
Tampa Bay leading the Angels 2-1. Bottom of the 4th.
The 0-2 is grounded foul off a breaking ball. The count remains 0-2. And the top of the 4th inning brought to you by Domino's Pizza. The pizza with the best toppings. Domino's, the official pizza of the New York Yankees radio network, as I hit my microphone. Here is the 0-2. Struck, came out swinging on a change down and away. Second strikeout for Montgomery has a 1-2-3. Well, he's pitching better than they ever dreamt. At the end of 3.5, tied at 1 on the WFAN New York Yankees radio network, driven by Jeep.
Geico RV presents Reflections from the Road. After a few hours riding in my RV, I get in the zone. It's just me, the road, and the savings I get with Geico RV insurance. There's no more worries, no more 9-to-5 hustle. It's like I'm a caged animal set free. What's
Well, here we go to the bottom of the fourth. The ball game is tied at 1. Yanks have 3 hits. Seattle has 4 hits. And here's Ricky Weeks, right-hand hitter, to lead it off. And Sabathia deals a strike at the knees on the outside. In 1 inning, when the Yankees scored their run in the third, there were 2 check swings that weren't called strikes. Gardner and A-Rod, and as a result, Lloyd McClendon, the manager, and the catcher Mike Zunino got thrown out. Weeks lines one foul down the right field line.
Fourth inning is brought to you by Cars for Kids. That's Cars with a K.
Weeks grounded to short his first time. And the 0-2 is outside 1-2.
Recovery Room Health Update is sponsored by New York Presbyterian, the official hospital of the New York Yankees. Amazing things are happening here. I got a couple updates for you.
Good.
Ivan Nova had 3 innings in extended spring, and then started to rain, so he threw 2 more innings at a bullpen underneath.
1-2, caught on him. Missed. Weeks strikes out. Strikeout number 5 for CC.
And next week he's going to start rehab starts. They don't know where they're going to be, the rehab games. And they just want to make sure he's got his command and get him up to about 80 pitches. But they want to make sure his command is good before he comes back. That'll be a while. Brendan Ryan started rehab games today. Joe said we have to get him so he plays back-to-back games and plays long games. But when he is ready to come back, well, it seems like 100 years since we've seen Brendan Ryan. When he's ready to come back, he will be here on this team.
Logan Morrison takes a breaking ball high. Well, one thing, it's already June.
I know, he missed 2 months.
Busting out all over us, and so it has been a long time. I mean, the spring training was a long time ago.
Well, he got hit before, he got hurt even before spring training started the first day.
The 1-0 is foul back.
Remember, he pulled his back muscle in the weight room, and I remember asking, I said, what did you do? Couldn't you wait till we at least got down here? And he said, what was I doing in the weight room? I was going to hit 4 homers instead of 2?
Well, that's true. That is true. There'll be a 1-1, lefty to lefty, Sabathia to Logan Morrison. And the pitch low, and the count 2-1.
But defensively, Brendan Ryan is as good as it gets, and he really will help a lot. He can play, obviously, he's a great shortstop. He can play second. He's played third. And it'll just help this infield a lot defensively.
Now here's the 2-1. There's a strike. I would imagine that unless something dramatic happens, that he will play a lot. If you're not going to hit, you might as well make all the plays, and Brendan Ryan can make all the plays. That's for sure. Well, it'll be a 2-2 to Morrison. 1 out, no one on. We're in the bottom of the fourth, tied at 1. Still daylight in the Pacific Northwest. And the pitch is line, base hit. Just over the glove of Perella. So Morrison is on with a solid hit to center field. And that will bring up Ruggiano.
10-game hitting streak now for Logan Morrison. No more.
Now, CC is set at the belt, and the pitch is foul back by Ruggiano. Ruggiano walked and then was gunned down trying to steal second. Actually, he stole second, but he overslid the bag, and Perella tagged him out. Here's the 0-1. Hit on the ground in the shortstop hole. There's a base hit left field. Stopping at second is Morrison. So back-to-back singles. And Seattle threatening. And they have first and second and one out.
That's just a nice piece of hitting. It was up, but it was on the outside part of the plate, and he tried to pull that. Probably would have been a harder hit had he just gone with the pitch, but pulled it.
Well, here's Castillo, the backup catcher, who came in when Zunino got tossed, and he struck out his first time. Runners at first and second. And one man out. And the pitch is hit on the ground to third. Headley feeds Perella on to first. Double play. A 5-4-3 DP gets the Yankees and CeCe out of a hot spot. No runs, 2 hits, 1 left. At the end of 4, tied at 1 on the WFAN New York Yankees radio network, driven by Jeep.
6 and 101.9 FM WFAN New York.
John Sterling, Susan Waldman back at Safeco in Seattle. The ball game is tied at 1. Stephen Drew will lead off. He's the 9th hitter. So Drew, and then the top of the order, Gardner and Chris Young. Against the rookie lefty Mike Montgomery, who has done a terrific job. The pitch to Drew, taken outside. His first major league appearance. They've gone 4 innings, 1 run, 3 hits. And I'm sure he and the Seattle dugout feel, and there's the 1-0. There's a strike. If they'd gotten a better break on the check swing by Gardner and A-Rod, he might not have given up a run. Drew grounded out his first time and takes a breaking ball strike, 1-2.
Well, nobody with the Mariners organization knew what to expect. I was told they'd be happy if they got 5 innings out of him. He's at 71 pitches. He can go more than 5. But they are, I see arm swings out there.
The 1-2 grounded to first. And a little flip to Montgomery is just in time. 1 away. Well, Morrison started to run to first. Then he figured, I better flip it, and he did, but he was out.
Well, it's taken Montgomery longer than he would have liked. He was a big-time prospect. He was at one point the number 1 prospect in the Royals organization. A lot of problems he had. I heard he brought his own pitching coach and was not good when he was younger, anyway, at taking coaching from members of the Kansas City staff. You get to grow up in this world, though, and you get to mature. And he's 25, and here he is. Sometimes, you know, John, you traded a couple times. It makes you grow up in a hurry.
I would think. The pitch to Gardner is swung on, hit in the air to left field. Ruggiano going back, away back, turns the wrong way, and the ball drops. Gardner heads towards second with a double. Remember when I told you that Ruggiano is going to be caught playing too shallow? He just was. And he also turned the wrong way. So it's a double for Gardner. Gardner is a little more pop than you think. And he hit the ball over Ruggiano's head.
Well, that's just an awful play by Ruggiano. When he was with Tampa Bay, he was brought in to be in defensive purposes late in games.
Yeah, he had to go back,
wow.
And then he turned the wrong way. So there's a break for the Yankees. I mean, basically, that's a fly ball. Here's Chris Young. And there's a breaking ball strike. Young is fly to left and popped to first. Gardner off at second, the tie-breaking run. And the 0-1. There's a breaking ball low. Your local Tri-State Audi dealers invite you to experience the uncompromised performance of the Audi A3 today, or visit anytime at TriStateAudiDealers.com. Montgomery will deal 1-1. There's strike at the knees, 1-2.
Fans come on out to the stadium Wednesday afternoon, June 10th, when the Yanks take on the Nationals. First 18,000 guests 21 and older receiving Yankees smartphone car vent mount, courtesy of Avis. For tickets, log on to Yankees.com.
Now the lefty at the belt. The 1-2 is low. 2-2. Gardner at second base with one man out. So the Yankees have two shots at the go-ahead run with Young, who's at bat with a count of 2-2, and then A-Rod. And the lefty's 2-2 is grounded foul off third. 10-second station ID on the WFAN New York Yankees radio network.
Klay Thompson has been cleared to play in Game 1 of the NBA Finals. Tony Page follows the Yankees on WFAN New York.
John Sterling, Susan Waldman, safe go in Seattle. Ball game tied at 1. Top of the 5th. Gardner with his fly ball double leads off second. And the 2-2 is grounded weakly up the first baseline. Morrison at the bag feels his foot is on the bag. And there are two away with Gardner going to third. So here is Alex with two outs. A runner at third. A-Rod fly to right and walked. It was his walk on a 3-2 check swing that brought McClendon out of the dugout, and ultimately he and Zunino, the catcher, got tossed. Didn't take very long either. So Montgomery deals, and there's a breaking ball. Strike 0-1. In the infield, Cano is pulled over near second. In the outfield straight away. Everyone else really straight away for A-Rod. The 0-1. Swung on. A high pop. Shallow left. Bloomquist calling. And he makes the catch to end the inning. We've seen it before. A left-hander throwing nice and easy. Throwing a lot of breaking balls. And the Yankees can't figure him out. It's not a new experience. No runs, one hit, one left. At the end of 4.5, tied at 1 on the WFAN New York Yankees radio network, driven by Jeep. Well, we go to the 5th inning. It is post time, and we bring in George King from the New York Post. The New York Post brings you the best sports in town every day. We're tied at 1, bottom of the 5th. Here's the leadoff hitter, Austin Jackson, who has doubled and singled off CeCe, and he scored the Mariner run. He's a right-hand hitter. And the 1-0. There's a strike. Well, George, you can run with this. They get shut up by Jesse Chavez on Sunday. They beat up Felix Hernandez on Monday, and they're held to 1 run in 5 innings by Mike Montgomery in his major league debut.
That's why you go broke gambling on baseball.
You bet your bird. It'll be a 1-1 to Austin Jackson, and the pitch is inside. And you know what? It's all happening. It all happened and is happening.
You know, in the past they did struggle against pitchers they hadn't seen, but that went away last year, and it's back tonight.
Here's the 2-1 to Jackson. And the pitch outside, 3-1.
You know the strange thing about it, George? We've known each other a very long time. The Yankees have always, since Billy Traber, when he pitched for Cleveland, it's a different group, and they still don't do it. It's different players, and they still don't hit a lefty that they've never seen before.
Here is Samathia's 3-1. Swung on, base hit left field between third and short. So Jackson is on, and a good start for the Mariners in the 5th.
And Jackson 3 for 3, 2 singles and a double tonight.
I would like to see what the stats are about all teams against left-handed pitchers they've never seen. Because, as you said, it's been going on for a long, long time here, which leads me to believe it happens a lot other places, too.
Yeah, probably.
I have a question for you. When Tanaka gets activated tomorrow, who goes away?
That's a pretty good question. I thought they brought Lindgren here not to send him back, but I mean he seems to be the obvious choice.
Yeah.
Now Sabathia deals. There's strike. Obvious to me because Shreve and Wilson have pitched much better of late, and if they don't send Lindgren down, they'd have 5 lefties in the bullpen.
And he's pitched in 3 games and not a real tense situation in any of them, to be honest with you.
Now here's the 0-1, and Bloomquist takes outside 1-1.
You know, on pregame today, I talked to Joe about Wilson and Shreve, and he's very impressed. And what he likes about them is that they're not just lefty specialists, so that they can keep them in for a lefty and a righty.
Nor is Lindgren. I mean, Lindgren, his reputation, he can get both out too. So that versatility is a plus down there.
The pitch caught on and missed, and the count 1-2.
But I would think that, Lingham's going to have plenty of time. He's very, very young, and these two have been doing it, so I'd imagine he would be the one to go.
Yes, and they, as bad as Carpenter has been, he's out of options, so he stays. Rogers has been up and down, but he's out of options, so he likely stays too.
Well, be a 1-2. Well, I'd say this. Jackson off first. Bloomquist hits a ground ball to third. Headley bobbles it. Throws to first late. Everybody is safe. So another error by the Yankee infield. At first, I thought that might be a double play ball. So the error comes at a inopportune time. Now, in a tie game in the 5th inning, Seattle has first and second, no one out, and they have easily their 3 best hitters coming up: Cano, Cruz, and Seager.
George, what do you make of this defense? That ball came up and it hit Headley in the stomach, and usually he would, last year he would have recovered and thrown a great throw over to first base. I'm not quite sure what's happening here defensively.
I can't explain it because he is a above average defender until this year. Accurate throwing arm, good hands. Not this year.
Cano called time. Sabathia was starting to come home. Well, it's too bad for Sabathia. That could have been a double play. Certainly, they would have gotten the force at second. And now in a tie game at 1, you have the 3 best hitters for Seattle with first and second and no one out. So. Cano takes a pitch low.
Headley booted the ball in Oakland. That was a short double play ball too. Capuano on the mound.
It's just very strange to see. We've seen the middle infield has not been great, and Beltran is having his problems in right field, and tonight Chris Young had problems and left.
And there's the 1-0. Half swing. Did he go? I guess not. And the count 2-0.
Now Beltran, that seemed to be concentration. That just, it's putting green grass out there. It's not like it's chopped up.
Now runners lead. Jackson off second. Bloomquist off first. And it'll be a 2-0 to Cano. The pitch. There's a strike in the count 2-1. George, we were talking when Brendan Ryan comes back. I thought maybe he'll play because if you're not hitting in the middle of the infield, you might as well get a good defender in. Could that be true?
I guess that's one way to look at it, but he's an automatic out too.
Right.
I mean, how many can you have in the team?
The 2-1, a high fly to center. Gardner moves over to make the catch. Jackson bluffs, and Gardner fires in. Well, I guess that's what I was saying. If you're not going to hit in the middle of the infield, you might as well get a guy out there with a glove. I'm not saying it's going to happen. I don't know if they're going to sit down Didi or sit down Drew. But one thing we know, Ryan will make the plays. He won't hit, but he'll make the plays.
That's true. And to be honest with you, I think there's a scenario where you really don't need Brendan Ryan here because you have Stephen Drew to be if he's going to be here and make $5 million, he could be a utility guy. And you play Didi and Perella. And you have the flexibility in the middle of the infield. I know not a lot of them are hitting, but to add another bat and delete Perella doesn't make any sense either.
Here's Cruz, 2 on and 1 out. And the pitch is strike. You know, you and Susan were talking about Lindgren. He'll be back. I mean, he'll be back this year. I think all these teams will try to make a change or two or three, and the Yankees are among them. There are a lot of different things they could do to help their team. It'll be an 0-1 to Cruz. Breaking ball, strike 0-2.
The biggest help would be for Tanaka to come back and stay healthy.
Yes.
And I think it might be a little bit premature to say this guy is brittle or this, he's China doll and all whatever you want to call it. But now we're talking about 2 extended stays inside of a calendar year with the right arm, which an elbow, a wrist, a forearm. He needs to pitch. He needs to stay healthy.
Here's the 0-2. Breaking ball low. Oh, I agree with you. I think even though you can't judge on one start, tomorrow is really a big start for the Yankees. Really a big start.
And he's got to prove, I don't know if he has to prove it to himself, but he has to prove it to the organization. This is somebody that can be counted on. And like I said, it might be a little premature to be going that way, but you never know.
There's the 1-2. Swung on a high fly to center. Gardner going back. In deep center in front of the track, makes the catch. Jackson will tag. He can walk to third. So Sabathia's done a heck of a job. He got Cano out on a medium range fly, got Cruz out on a long fly. Now here's Kyle Seager, who has struck out swinging on 2 sliders. You figure he's telling himself, lay off the slider. He's a left-hand hitter with first and third and 2 men out.
Now, here's my question to you, George. Jose Pirela, we saw him hit in spring training. He had good numbers at AAA. The organization thinks he's going to hit. He's a young kid. He's not going to hit if he plays once a week. And everybody said he's a defensive liability. I haven't seen him make a mistake yet. And I don't know why they don't let him. If they think he's going to hit, why don't you just let him play?
Lefty to lefty, pitch, strike on the inside corner.
Well, between Ryan and Drew, there's 7.5 million reasons why. And, the manager insists that, Drew is going to hit.
That's what he said.
And it's now June. And, is he going to hit it? And if he does hit, what's he going to hit?
There's the 0-1 to Seager. And he bunts. Sabathia fields, fires to first, got him, and he gets out of the inning. Now that tells you about Seager, who slams his helmet to the ground, that he has been very frustrated by Sabathia, so he tried to bunt down third. Not a bad idea, but he got it too close to the mound. So Sabathia wriggles out of trouble. No runs, 1 hit, 1 error, 2 left. George, thank you. And at the end of 5 innings of play, we're tied at 1. On the WFAN New York Yankees radio network, driven by Jeep.
It's Yankees baseball on Sports Radio 66 and 101.9 FM, WFAN, New York.
Well, we go to the top of the 6th, tied at 1. Mike Montgomery deals a strike to Teixeira. Montgomery pitching better than they dreamed. Pitch is outside. Teixeira grounded out and ripped a bullet double down the left field line for the only Yankee run. Now we're tied at 1 as we hit the 6th. And the pitch is grounded foul off a slow breaking ball. The Yankees, I'm sure someone in the dugout, they have 2 hitting coaches that's saying, stay back, but they're not. It's tough to do when you haven't seen a guy, I guess. It'll be a 1-2 to Teixeira. And the fastball is high. 2-2.
Scoreboard update brought to you by Bigelow Family Tea Blender since 1946. Doubleheader in Washington, split by Toronto and the Nats.
Breaking balls in the dirt, 3-2.
Washington shut out Toronto 2-0 in the day game. Toronto beat Washington 7-3 in the nightcap. Kevin Pillar had 2 homers in that game. Oakland beat Detroit 5-3. Ben Zobrist with a grand slam.
Here is the payoff. And a breaking ball, strike 3. Teixeira was ready to throw the bat away. He didn't like the call, but he does the smart thing and walks away. The Yankees going to need him in this game. Well, there's 1 away, and here's Chase Headley.
Clay Buchholz pitched 8 innings of no-run baseball as the Red Sox beat Minnesota 1-0. Texas 15-2 over the White Sox. Colby Lewis beat Jeff Samardzija.
Headley takes a fastball high.
Evan Gattis and Luis Balbuena hit back-to-back home runs, and Houston beat Baltimore 6-4. Cleveland beat Kansas City 2-1. Brandon Moss's 9th homer.
Breaking ball strike, 1-1.
And Tampa Bay is leading the Angels now 2-1. They're in the top of the 6th.
There's the 1-1. A bouncer up there, goes back to the screen, 2-1.
You know what, John? I'm looking at that Cleveland-Kansas City game. Wade Davis got the loss, so he must have given up that run.
Oh, that's
Cleveland scored 1 in the 8th. That's the first run he's given up in a year, right?
Yeah, that's a stop the presses kind of thing. There's a foul ball, first base side out of play.
Colorado and the Dodgers split a doubleheader. Colorado winning the first game 6-3. Now they're in the top of the 9th in Colorado. In the second game, the Dodgers are leading 9-8.
Here, we're tied at 1, top of the 6th, 1 out, no one on. The 2-2 to Headley is grounded to second. Cano throws out Headley 2 away.
Miami beat the Cubs 5-2. Giancarlo Stanton's 16th home run. St. Louis beat Milwaukee 1-0. Mark Reynolds RBI single in the second inning. All the scoring there. They're in the top of the 6th in Arizona. Arizona leads Atlanta 4-1. San Diego now leads the Mets 7-1. Top of the 5th.
Right-hander Mark Lowe is warming in the Seattle bullpen. Montgomery deals. Beltran fouls it back. And the count 0-1.
They're in the bottom of the 3rd in San Francisco. Pittsburgh leading the Giants 4-2.
Beltran 1 for 2. 2 outs, no one on. And the pitch cut on him. Montgomery's in the 90s. I think he's at 93, 94. So I guess it would be his last inning. But he probably opened some eyes tonight. He's pitched extremely well. Here is the 0-2. Swung on, hit high and deep and foul down the left field line. In the seats, but foul. And the count remains 0-2. Geico, saving people money on car insurance for over 75 years. Call Geico at 1-800-947-AUTO. Or visit them at geico.com. Let's not minimize, because of the single and the error, how well CeCe pitched to get out of that jam. The 1-2. He struck him out swing on a breaking ball. 4 strikeouts for Montgomery. And if that's his calling card, he went 6 innings, 1 run, 4 hits. He pitched great. Absolutely great. 3 up, 3 down at the end of 5.5, tied at 1. On the WFAN New York Yankees radio network, driven by Jeep.
Your local Tri-State Audi dealers invite you to experience the uncompromised performance of the Audi A3 today, or visit anytime at TriStateAudiDealers.com.
Now to the bottom of the 6th inning. Ricky Weeks, a right-hand hitter, leads up and takes a pitch low. From CeCe, we are tied at 1 here in the bottom of the 6th. And Sabathia's 1-0 is low, and the count 2-0. Sabathia has thrown 83 pitches as we begin play here in the bottom of the 6th. I gather that's all from Montgomery, because Lowe or somebody is warming in the bullpen. The 2-0 is cut on, missed on a breaking ball.
Well, I think they were all pumping fists there.
Well, that's more than they ever expected, right?
Yeah.
Not just 6 innings, but 6 innings of 1 run, 4 hits.
Right.
Well, that's pretty darn good. Now here's the 2-1. Swung on, a high fly to left. Young drifts back a few steps, makes the catch, 1 away. Sabathia has pitched a very good game. You know, one thing, his record is terrible, and his ERA is terrible. But we see, obviously, every pitch of every game. And he hasn't pitched that badly. Half the time he has, and half the time he's pitched well. He hasn't gotten any support. And tonight, obviously, he's pitching very well. CC has struck out 5. And he has walked 1. Here's Logan Morrison, a left-hand hitter, and the pitch is strike. So he has struck out 5. Painting the Corner brought to you by Certa Pro Painters, because painting is personal. We normally do this report from cities that are near the Midwest but still in the Eastern time zone. Here's the 0-1. Hit on the ground fair over third. It's a base hit. There was no one there on the shift. Morrison rounds first, holds on as Young fires in. But here it is, almost 9 o'clock. It's not black yet. It's getting there, but still some light out. So there's a lead, a 1-out single by Morrison. And here is Ruggiano. Morrison has 2 of the 8 hits.
David Carpenter now getting up for the Yanks.
Pitch outside to Ruggiano. So the right-hander Carpenter starts to warm. With 1 on and 1 out, and Sabathia deals, swung on a high pop foul, make the seats first base side, and the count 1-1. Now CC's 1-1 is outside 2-1. Ruggiano has walked and singled tonight. Morrison leads off first, and there he goes. Pitch is swung on, hit in the air, foul down the right field line. So ahead on the count, they played hit and run. Smart thing to do. Move the man up at the worst. And the count 2-2 on Ruggiano.
You know, you'd think they'd do a lot more because because except for the middle of this order, Cano, Cruz, and Seager, nobody really hits on this team.
No, not at all. You're right.
You'd see a lot of that kind of stuff.
It'll be a 2-2. And the pitch cut on him. There he blew the fastball by him at 90 up. So there are 2 away. The 6th strikeout for CC, and that will bring up the catcher Wellington Castillo. And we pause 10-second station ID on the WFAN New York Yankees radio network.
The Warriors' Klay Thompson has passed the concussion protocol. He's cleared to play in Game 1 of the NBA Finals. After baseball, it's Tony Page on WFAN, WFAN-FM, New York.
Morrison leads off first. Sabathia deals. Breaking ball low. John Sterling, Susan Waldman from Safeco. Remember, Tanaka tomorrow afternoon. It's a very big start. I guess it's a big start for Tanaka. It's a really important start for the Yankees. They need him to team with Pineda, have a couple of aces on top. And we'll be on there at 3 in the afternoon with the pregame and 3:35 for the play-by-play. Pitch swung on and line to right field as a base hit. Beltran fields near the line. Heading toward third is Morrison. And there are runners on the corners with 2 out.
And he didn't try and do too much. And Wellington Castillo, he did have a couple of home runs when he was a Cub, but not since he's been here. And just went with that pitch off the end of the bat, went with it.
So here is Austin Jackson, who has doubled and singled twice. So once again, Seattle threatens to take the lead. And here is Joe Girardi. Coming out. Let's see if he's going to take out CeCe or not. He hasn't shown his hand. He's just talking to him, and he is taking him out.
He is. And as CeCe leaves, this call to the bullpen is brought to you by your tri. That pitching change also brought to you. The new pitcher is David Carpenter. And he'll try and get Austin Jackson, who CeCe didn't get at all. Double and 2 singles.
So here's Carpenter. There are 2 right-hand hitters coming up, Jackson and Bloomquist. And then you have Cano, Cruz, and Seager. But there are 2 outs in the inning, so Carpenter comes in to try to get Jackson and end the inning. And the pitch way outside, blocked beautifully by Murphy, or it would have been 2-1 Seattle. Yankees have a left-hander up. That's for Cano, although that doesn't really bother Cano too much. But for Carpenter, here's a guy he wants to get. First and third, 2 men out. It'll be a 1-0 to Jackson. And the pitch is foul. First base out of play. Time is called for a moment. Something is on the field. Oh, someone threw a ball on the field. And Chris Young tosses it into the seats. They play Jackson as he's a left-hand hitter. Beltran is over toward the line and right. Gardner's in right center, and Chris Young's in left center. The pitch, strike on the outside corner. And count 1 and 2.
Jason Shreve up in the pen. Carpenter throws very, very hard. 96, 95 with those last 2 strikes. He just needs to locate. Easier said than done, but he's got a great arm. Great stuff. Just
runners lead first and third, 2 out. The 1-2 lays off. Breaking ball, the count 2-2. Willie Bloomquist is on deck. Now they have 3 lefty hitters on the bench. But first of all, Jackson, and the count 2-2. Morrison off third, Castillo off first, and the pitch is grounded foul off of third. That was 96.
Now, Joe once said to me about Carpenter, it sounds silly to say it, but he really is a control pitcher, throwing 96, 97. It's hard to think that, but he needs to hit spots.
Well, 96, I guess in the right spot is pretty tough to hit. The pitch is outside and low. There's a breaking ball. The count 3-2.
Well, he hasn't gotten one of the breaking balls over yet. Which I guess if you're Jackson, you'll be looking for that fastball with a 3-2 count.
Now, if I was Jackson, I'd be looking for it. Runners lead first and third, 2 men out. Game tied at 1, bottom of the 6th. The 3-2 swung on in line. There's a base hit center field. So Morrison scores and heads towards second, and he is there with a double. Now Jackson doubles to center. That should have been a single, but it's a ribby single. That run charge to Sabathia, and Seattle takes a 2-1 lead.
And we're looking at that. It was a low fastball and right over the middle of the plate. John Ryan Murphy was setting up right on the outside part of the plate, right on the corner, and it just came right back over the middle. So that's what Joe was saying, location. Doesn't matter how hard you're throwing if it's straight and in the wrong spot.
So Seattle takes a 2-1 lead, and they have second and third two out. Here's Bloomquist. He's a pretty big hitter with Cano up next. Man, the pitch low outside the slider. A base hit would make it 4. I don't know why. I was watching the runners. I don't know why the Yankees didn't feel the ball quicker and get it in. That should have been a single. It was a line drive to center field. Jackson just kept on running. So a base hit would mean 2 more runs. And here's the 1-0 to Bloomquist. There's a strike at the knees to count 1-1. So CC on that run is on the hook. And, he pitched a pretty good game. It'll be a 1-1 to Bloomquist. He's a right-hand hitter. And Carpenter deals. And it's knocked down by Murphy. That would have been a wild pitch and a run. So, going to count 2-1. This is a big moment in the game. If he loses Bloomquist, he has to face Cano. He'll never face him. They'll bring in the lefty. And if Bloomquist gets a base hit, it'll be 4-1. Pitch. Swung on and line to right at Beltran. Back a step to make the catch. However, the damage has been done. 1 run, 3 hits, 2 left. Now the end of 6 innings of play. 2-1 Seattle on the WFAN New York Yankees radio network, driven by Jeep.
The Speed Report is brought to you by Old Dominion Household Services, self-moving services that deliver. Get a quote at odmove.com for your next move. No stolen bases tonight so far. Justin Ruggiano caught stealing in the second inning. The new pitcher is an old friend of the Mariners, Mark Lowe, back with them. It was 10 years ago when Mark Lowe, I think it was 11, I think it was 2004, was his Major League debut when he was throwing 100 miles an hour and leaving vapor trails with that fastball. It's 10 years ago. He was part of that deal that went to Texas when with Cliff Lee, when Justin Smoke and everybody came over here. And he's been on the move since then. He's been injured. He's been with the Angels. He's been with the Nationals. He's been with the Rays. He's been with the Indians. And now he's back here where it all began for him, Mark Lowe.
Here is Didi to hit for Perella. It's a lefty-righty switch. So Didi pinched it. Perella was 1 for 2. Mike Montgomery was terrific with Seattle, better than they ever dreamed possible. I'll give you his numbers in a moment, and he could be the winning pitcher. It'll be a 1-0 to Didi. And a ground ball base hit to left center field. So Didi is on with a leadoff hit. He hit it between Bloomquist and the second base bag. So there is the tying run at first. For Montgomery, 6 innings, 1 run, 4 hits, 4 strikeouts, 2 walks. He can win it. He can't lose it. And here is J.R. Murphy.
And now the lefty Charlie Furbush is warming up. Mark Lowe's pitched very, very well for them. That was still a 95-mile-an-hour fastball, so he still throws hard.
Montgomery for the Mariners, 6 innings, 4 hits, 1 run.
Now the right-hander ready to deal to Murphy, and there's a breaking ball strike. Murphy is grounded out and struck out. So they use Didi to hit for Perella, but they're not using McCann to hit for Murphy.
Here's a line on CC Sabathia for the Yankees. Sabathia 5 2/3, 9 hits, 2 runs, 2 earned runs. 2 walks, 6 strikeouts.
Now here's the 0-1. And pitch low to try to dissuade the Yankees from using their lefty pinch hitters. Lefty Charlie Furbush is up in the Seattle bullpen. Seattle has a 2-1 lead as we play here in the top of the 7th inning. I'll give you Sabathia's line because that run is charged to him. Carpenter gave up the base hit to Jackson. Now here is the 1-1 throw over. So for CC, 5 2/3, 2 runs, 9 hits, 6 strikeouts, and 2 walks.
Lowe's been through a myriad of injuries, a lot on his right elbow.
Now here is the 1-1. Didi leads off first. And the pitch is looped to right center field. It dunks in for a base hit. Rounding second, heading for third. Didi fell down. The throw back to second. He's out. Well, I'm sorry that he fell down. And he wasn't trying to. I didn't see what happened. I was watching the play in right field. Didi could have walked to third base. It was a looping single. He read it right off the bat. He would have been at third base. The Yankees would have had first and third and no one out, down by 1 run. And he fell down between second and third. And when he tried to get back, he was easily out. So you can't make this stuff up. You really can't. Just one of those things. And his wheels went out from under him, and he fell down on the base path. So, 1 on and 1 out. And here's Stephen Drew. You know, I always say this, a breaking ball strike. I always say this. If the Yankees win the game, you know, it'll just be a laugh, and no one will care about it. But if they lose the game, well, then you remember it. The Yankees would have had first and third and no one out, down by 1 run in the 7th inning. Here's the 0-1. Swung on and hit in the air to right field. There is Cruz to make the catch. TUE.
Come on out to the stadium Tuesday, June 9th, when the Yanks take on the Nationals. It's a Yankee Stadium tradition, cap night, and the first 18,000 guests in attendance will receive a Yankees cap courtesy of Cannon. For tickets, log on to Yankees.com. We just saw that again. I'm thinking, John, it looked for a minute that Didi was looking at the center fielder and just tripped over the bag, hit the bag wrong, and then the legs went out from under him, or he was just taking a wide turn. But while we talk about that, we have a pitching change here, and this call to the bullpen is brought to you by that pitching change. The new pitcher is the lefty Charlie Furbush. Furbush has pitched great this season also. 12 2/3 innings, getting 3 runs on 6 hits, just 2 earned runs, 4 walks, 8 strikeouts, batters hitting 133 off of Charlie Furbush. He is, however, prone to some wild pitches. He's got 4 of them.
You know, the odd thing is that Drew really hit the ball hard to deep right, and that would have easily scored the tying run. I think what happened to Didi is he swung so wide that he fell down as he was trying to straighten out his run, I think. You know, I can't say, but it looks that way. He routed second so wide that then he fell down. The play goes 9-6. Cruz was the guy who picked up the ball. So Gardner takes a strike, 2 outs, a runner at first. And Didi, he didn't have to run. He could have walked to third base. And the Yanks would have had the game tied. Here's the 0-1. And the pitch low outside. Wow, huh?
Yep.
That actually is tough to believe. That actually is tough to believe. I think that's what it is. That he rounded it so wide that in coming back to a straight line toward third, he fell down. Gardner 1 for 2 with a walk. He's a left-hand hitter, hence the lefty Furbush. And the 1-1. There's a breaking ball strike. 1-2. Well, the 7th inning sponsored by Tri-State Ford. Ford vehicles have it all. Great design, intelligent features, all at a price that won't break the bank. See why they're the total package at your local Ford dealer now, or visit us at tristateford.com. Here's the 1-2. And it's foul back. But that is a novel way to lose a game, huh?
Well, that is something that Didi's going to have to work on. He plays out of control. That is something he plays a little fast and loose at shortstop. He plays out of control. Carson Smith now warming up for the Mariners.
And here's the 1-2. It's foul, third base side out of play. Two-1 Seattle, top of the seventh. The runner at first is Murphy with 2 men out. Well, the odd part about the Didi falling down in the baseline after route at second is he actually did not have to spin his wheels because the ball was a looper to right center. He could have walked to third base. Isn't that funny? And there's the 1-2. Foul, third base out of play. There was no play on him, I guess is what I mean. And also the play would have gone to second because they didn't have a chance to get him at third, so they would have thrown to second base so that Murphy wouldn't go to second on the throw to third. Well, that's an odd play. There'll be a 1-2 to Gardner with 2 outs. Murphy leads off first. Lefty to lefty, and the pitch is cut on. Oh, for the Yanks, no runs, 2 hits, 1 left. And now at the end of 6.5 innings of play, it's 2-1 Seattle on the WFAN New York Yankees radio network, driven by Jeep. Well, we go to the bottom of the 7th inning. Left-handed Chasen Shreve comes on. So what the Yankees do is they put Drew at second, and Didi goes to short. And Shreve is on the hill. David Carpenter came on to get Jackson. They didn't get him. Jackson had a base hit to give Seattle the lead. So Carpenter, a third of an inning. No runs, 1 hit. No strikeouts or walks. And here is the lefty to pitch to Cano. Oh, the Yankees trail 2-1. Going to the bottom of the 7th inning. And the pitch to Cano is a strike. Robbie 1 for 3 on the day. And the 0-1 is foul back to the screen, and the count 0-2.
7th inning stretch is brought to you by your Tri-State BMW centers. BMW, we only make one thing, the ultimate driving machine.
That'll be an 0-2. Lefty to lefty. Pitch, and Robbie hits a ground ball. Foul outside of first. A lot of ways to lose a game, but boy, that's a new one. The lead runner falling down between second and third. And now you don't know if the same thing would have happened. It's true. The 0-2 is a breaking ball outside. But then Drew really drove the ball to right field. It would have scored him easily. And at the worst, the Yankees would be tied. So it'll be a 1-2 to Cano. Cano, Cruz, and Kyle Seager here in the Mariners' 7th. And the 1-2 is lined to left field. Young makes the catch. See, that's Cano. Don't tell me he's not going to hit. He buzzed a single in this game, and there he hit a bullet liner to left. It just stayed up for Young. So there's one away, but well, those are two great swings by Cano tonight.
And you're right, John. And if he starts going the other way, he'll be back up there in no time.
The star tonight, outside of Mike Montgomery, who has to be the star. I mean, he gave them more than they ever dreamt. Here is Nelson Cruz. And pitches strike is Austin Jackson, who had a double, a single, and a double to knock in the go-ahead run. He's the power. In tonight's power report, Mark Teixeira doubled early in the game in the third inning. A line drive double down the line to score one. And the only Yankee run, of course. Here's the 1-0. Pitch outside. Anyway, that's the power. In the power report, brought to you by Indian Point Energy Center, the region's most reliable source of electric power. Cruz swings and misses. Shreve and Wilson, the two young lefties in the bullpen, have both pitched better of late. And this is, I think, how the Yankees envisioned them to pitch.
Well, Wilson, I agree with you, has really straightened out those walk problems and throwing too many pitches.
Now the 2-1 is low on the count 3-0.
Shreve started off great, went through a little stretch. And what was the other day, John, when he struck out the side and then he struck out 4 in a row?
Right, in Oakland.
In Oakland.
The only game they won. That night the bullpen went 4 1/3, no runs on one hit. So it'll be a 3-1 to Cruz. Grounded foul off third, and the count 3-2. If the Yankees don't score, CC be a hard luck loser tonight. He pitched very well. Now here's a 3-2 from Shreve. Grounded foul off third. Let's take 10-second station ID on the WFAN New York Yankees radio network.
The Mets trail the Padres 7-2 in the seventh. The Warriors' Klay Thompson cleared to play in Game 1 of the NBA Finals. It's Tony Page after the Yankees on WFAN AM and FM New York.
Now here comes the 3-2 from Shreve to Nelson Cruz, and the pitch foul back to the screen.
Being very aggressive. Give him a lot of credit. This is as good a hitter as there is. 18 home runs. He's making him work.
Now once again it'll be a 3-2. Struck him out swinging. Oh, Shreve threw an off-speed pitch down and away, and Cruz came up empty. Two-way. Here's Seager.
Terrific. That dropped about 1.5 feet down and away, just like John said. John Ryan Murphy caught it on the ground.
Seager is 0 for 3. He's a left-hand hitter. And the pitch cut on him. Missed on a breaking ball. And the count 0-1. 2-1 Seattle, bottom of the seventh, 2 outs and no one on. And the pitch low, and the count 1-1. Three infielders. On the right side for Seager, who hits a ground ball fair over third for a base hit to left field. Young field. Seager heads towards second. The throw is in plenty of time, and he is out by a half a city block. So the play goes 7-6. Give Seager a single. He's out trying to stretch 7-6. No runs, 1 hit, and no one left. Now, the end of 7 innings of play. It's 2-1 Seattle. On the WFAN New York Yankees radio network, driven by
Sports Radio 66 and 1019 FM. WFAN New York.
Well, the new pitcher for the Mariners is another rookie, Carson Smith. Now, he's a big, tall guy. He's 6'5", 215, throws very, very hard from Midland, Texas. And I'll give you his stats. He's another one. They seem to get all these guys that throw 97, 98 miles an hour. Carson Smith, 1-2. ERA of 1.23, 22 innings, 12 hits, 3 earned runs, 1 home run, 23 walks, and 47 strikeouts. Throws very, very hard. Fastball, and he's got a really good slider. Throws a changeup to lefties.
Well, we go to the top of the 8th. Garrett Jones, a lefty hitter, will hit for Young. Young finished 0 for 3. So it'll be Jones, A-Rod, Teixeira. The Yankees still have 2 lefty hitters on the bench, McCann and Ramon Flores. There's a pitch to Jones. And there's a strike. 3 infielders on the right side for Garrett.
Scoreboard update is brought to you by Astoria Bank. Toronto split a doubleheader with Washington, losing the first game 2-0, coming back and winning the night cup 7-3.
Jones grounds it foul, 1-2.
Other American League East games, Boston beat Minnesota 1-0. It was Houston beating Baltimore 6-4, and Tampa Bay is now leading the Angels 6-1. They are in the top of the 9th at the Big A.
Here's the 0-2. He struck him out swing on a slider, 1 away.
And in the National League, San Diego is leading the Mets 7-2. They are in the top of the 7th.
Now here's A-Rod, who is 0 for 2 with a walk. 1 out, no one on, top of the 8th. 2-1 Seattle. And the pitch is a strike fastball to the knees.
At 96.
Here's the 0-1. It's low in the count, 1-1. The 8th inning is brought to you by Kubota Tractors. You can find them at Farm Right Incorporated and Harder Equipment Incorporated. The lefty Jacob Lindgren, the righty Dylan Betances in the Yankee bullpen. The 1-1 is grounded foul at home plate. The count 1-2.
And he's just coming right at him. 96, 95. That was 94.
Seattle outfield extremely deep, playing no doubles defense. 1 out, no one on in the 8th. Pitch. Strike 3.
With the slider, all fastballs, and then the slider. Alex's Turner walked away.
So there are 2 outs. And here is Teixeira.
John, in your mind's eye, every time we come to Seattle, don't they have big, tall guys coming out of that bullpen throwing 100 miles an hour forever? Yeah.
Teixeira takes low. 3 infielders on the right side. That'll be a 1-0. And the pitch outside. The closer is Fernando Rodney, and the Yankees have seen him for years. So if Smith does his job, you'll see Rodney in the ninth. 2-1 Seattle, top of the eighth. 2 outs, no one on. And the pitch has popped up to shallow right. The second baseman, Robbie Cano, makes the catch. He was playing way out there for Teixeira. So 1, 2, 3 go the Yanks into 7.5. It is 2-1 Seattle on the WFAN New York Yankees radio network, driven by Jeep.
We are coming to you live from the Sunoco broadcast booth. Sunoco, save 5 cents on every gallon instantly with your Sunoco Rewards credit card. Garrett Jones will go to left field, and the new pitcher is the rookie Jacob Lindgren.
Now Shreve goes an inning, no runs, 1 hit, 1 strikeout, no walks, up to Lindgren to hold Seattle at 2 and see if the Yankees can scratch a run in the ninth. Here's Ricky Weeks to lead it off. 2-1 Seattle, bottom of the eighth. And he cuts and misses strike 1. Now the 0-1 is low. Weeks is 0 for 3 with Morrison and Ruggiano on deck. Ricky swings and misses. Rodney is warming up, the closer, and he'll come on to face the Yankees in the ninth. In the ninth, the Yankees have Headley, Beltran, and Didi Gregorius as the first 3 scheduled hitters. Now they have McCann and Flores on the bench. The 1-2 is a bouncer. So we'll see how Joe plays it. I would gather if Headley and or Beltran get on, Didi will hit. If they both make out, then I think he has to use McCann. Pitch, just in hopes that he hits one out to tie the game. The Yankees are down 2-1. If it's 2-1.
Well, Rodney has not been infallible. His ERA is 6.75. He does have 14 saves, but he's blown some too.
Yeah, his ERA is 6.75.
Right.
26 hits and 11 walks in 21 innings. That's a lot of. That's 30. How many hits did I say? Oh, that's someone else. I think that's 37 base runners in 21 innings. The pitch to Weeks. He struck him out swinging, 1 away. Lindgren will probably go down tomorrow to make way for Tanaka in the rotation and Capuano in the bullpen. But Jacob Lindgren will get back. Will be back. He really looks good. They have a good young lefty reliever in Lindgren. So here's left-hand hitting Logan Morrison, who has 2 hits. He's 2 for 3. And the pitch is grounded to first. Teixeira fields, has to flip to Lindgren, who drops the ball. So another error by the Yanks. Look, that's 3 errors, and the worst error of all is not an error. That's when Didi fell down on the base path to deny the Yankees the tying run. And they've scored 1 run. So, hey, if the Yankees lose the game, I mean, they don't exactly have any kick coming. So.
Well, he had it in his glove, did Lindgren. It just bounced out. Wow.
So 1 on and 1 out, and here is Justin Ruggiano. Now, I know it's tougher down there. Trust me, I understand. The pitch to Ruggiano is grounded foul outside of third. But they scored 1 run tonight off Mike Montgomery. I mean, they didn't exactly oppose Chris Sale or Kershaw or Bumgarner or one of those lefties. And then they've made 3 errors, and they had a base runner fall down in the middle of the base path when he would get to third and score with no one out on a fly ball. So, and here is the 0-1. A snap throw to first, and back is Morrison. That's the Yankees' 3rd error in the books tonight.
Wow.
Obviously. There'll be an 0-1 to the right-hand hitting Ruggiano. And the pitch is high. Your local Tri-State Audi dealers invite you to experience the uncompromised performance of the Audi A3 today, or visit anytime at TriStateAudiDealers.com.
Sometimes it's just really hard to believe what you're watching.
1-1. And it's low inside to him. Now here's the 2-1. God, out of missed. And the count 2-2. Now Lindgren deals. And he struck him out swinging 2-away.
Lindgren's got terrific stuff. And if it is he that is going down tomorrow, he will be back. And I can't see any other way out of that. But for someone who was just drafted last year, he has certainly shown that he belongs here. That error didn't help him, but his pitching has been pretty good.
Here is the catcher, Wellington Castillo, a right-hand hitter. And there's a strike. It'll be an 0-1. Cut on it, missed. And the count 0-2. Actually, Lindgren could stay in almost any other season, but the fact is the Yankees have so many lefty relievers. I mean, they have Miller, of course, the closer, then Shreve and Wilson, and now Capuano going to the bullpen to make room for Tanaka. So it's not Jacob's fault. He's pitched very well, and you know he's going to be back. By the way, this is what we're talking about. Well, they haven't mentioned it officially that he's going down, but someone has to go. It'll be an 0-2. Throw over to first base. Now here's the 0-2. Grounded foul. The runner was going. 0-2 on Castillo. Now the left-hander is set. It'll be an 0-2. And it's grounded to third. Headley fields the long throw is in time. And in the inning, no runs, no hits, 1 error, 1 left. Well, we go to the ninth. Fernando Rodney will try to close it, and the Yankees will send up Headley, Beltran, and Didi, with Seattle leading 2-1 on the WFAN New York Yankees radio network, driven by Jeep.
WFAN New York.
The right-hander Fernando Rodney, the veteran right-hand relief pitcher / closer, has not had a great year. He's 2-2 and an ERA of 6.75. He's had a lot of base runners. 22 games, 21 innings, up an inning at a time. In the 21 innings, he's given up 26 hits. He's walked 11, so 37 base runners in 21 innings. He has struck out 19. Baseball hitting .302 off him, and he has given up 3 homers. The attendance tonight is 27,442. That's the game attendance, and the game attendance brought to you by New York Community Bank and the NYCB family of banks. Chase Headley will lead it off. Headley and Beltran obviously will hit, and then we'll see. Joe has to make some decisions depending on what happens in the first 2 batters. Here's Headley, a switch hitter batting left, and the pitch, a fastball inside, 1-0. Headley is 0 for 3. Seattle with a 2-1 lead here in the top of the 9th inning. And the 1-0 is low in the count, 2-0. In other words, if Headley and Beltran made out with 2 outs and no one on, then you'd be forced to put up McCann for Didi to try to hit it out and tie the game. But if someone gets on, you can let Didi hit, and then McCann would hit for Murphy. There's the 2-0. There's a strike. And the count, 2-1. Please stay tuned after the game for the Agera Energy Yankees post-game show. Agera Energy, the next generation of energy efficiency, demand management, and retail energy supply. The pitch. Strike, inside corner fastball. 2-2, 94. So 2-2 on Headley. And Rodney's 2-2 is low. And the count 3-2. That may have been a splitter. I don't think it was. So it'll be a 3-2 to Headley. 3 infielders on the right side. Obviously, the Yankees trailing 2-1 need base runners. They certainly need 1 base runner. And here comes the payoff pitch. High, ball 4. Fastball. So Headley walks. And unless there's a ground ball double play from Beltran, then they can hold McCann back and have him hit for Didi. But, you know, if the Yankees tied it and they had a hit for Didi and you say, well, they're out an infielder, there are many different ways they could do it. And if that happens, I'll go into them. I've been figuring it out in between innings. So here is Beltran, who is 1 for 3, a switch hitter batting left. And the pitch swung on, hit in the air to right, not deep. And Cruz comes in to make the catch, 1 away. So here is Didi to hit for himself, and we won't have to worry about how to rearrange your infield. There's more than 2 ways to do it. So it would be interesting to see what happens if either Didi or McCann get on, 2 on, 2 out, and Drew up. Would you hit Drew, or would you hit Ramon Flores? That'd be kind of interesting. Now here's Didi, who came up and singled, and then on his way to third base, where he easily would have scored the tying run, he fell down between second and third. He's a left-hand hitter, and he takes a breaking ball strike. Headley leads off first. Pitch way high, and the count 1-1. You know, I mentioned Rodney's stats. He's walked 12 men in 21 innings. I mean, that's a lot of walks for a closer, especially. The tying run, Headley off first, and the pitch is low inside, 2-1. Well, Headley's the tying run, and Didi is the go-ahead run. And we're in the top of the ninth at Safeco. The outfield very deep, playing no doubles defense. McCann is already on deck. He'll hit for Murphy. And the 2-1. Count on him. It's off speed. 2-2. It'll be a 2-2 to Didi. Headley a short lead off first. Pitch. Struck him out swing splitter. So they're a two-way, and that will bring up McCann. So Brian McCann will hit for Murphy. Murph was 1 for 3. And the pitch is way outside 1-0. Two-one Seattle. We're on the top of the ninth. The Yankees down to their final out. They have the tying run at first. Headley. And the pitch is cut on him. And the count 1-1. And the outfield very deep, playing no doubles defense, no shift. And there is the 1-1. Swung on and line toward the gap in left center field. It is a base hit, but it is going to be cut off by Ruggiano. That's what playing deep does. On to third goes Headley, and there's the tying run at third. The go-ahead run at first. And Stephen Drew is going to come up and hit for himself. So the Yankees have first and third. When the ball was hit, it looked like it was in the gap, but it wasn't far enough. And remember, they were playing very deep, and that's why you play deep. You cut it off. So McCann comes through with a single to left center. And here comes Drew. Drew is 0 for 3. And as he stands in, he's hitting at 157. So you know what a terrible year he's had with the bat. And there's a big spot for Steven to get a hit and tie the game. Runners at first and third, 2 men out. And the pitch is low. If you're wondering, Drew lifetime 1 for 4 off Rodney. Headley the tying run at third. McCann the go-ahead run at first. And the 1-0. There's a strike. On the count 1-1. Now the outfield can't afford to play no doubles defense, so they come in at basically normal depth. So a pop fly wouldn't fall in essentially. Here's the 1-1. Strike, fastball, 1-2. Now Rodney deals. Swung on and line. There's a base hit to right field toward the line. Headley scores. Racing to third is McCann. On to second goes Drew with a double. It's the biggest hit of the, it's the second biggest hit of the year for Drew. Remember, in Baltimore, he won a game with a grand slam. A 2-out, 1-2 pitch that was ripped down the right field line by Drew. It's a ribby double, and the Yankees tie the game at 2. Runners at second and third, 2 out. Here is Gardner, and first of all, the pitching coach, Rick Waits, to the mound. So Drew comes through with a bullet double. And now, if Didi hadn't fallen down between second and third, the Yankees would have the lead. If everything would have occurred that way, who knows? So Drew, his second biggest hit of the year. Headley scores. On to third goes McCann. Waits goes back to the dugout, and here is Brett Gardner. Runners at second and third. Now the outfield really shortens up, because then they don't want anything to drop in. They want to cut off the line drive. Ruggiano is way up in left field. He's at Little League depth, playing toward the line. Austin Jackson a bit in left center, and Cruz in straightaway right. Gardner 1 for 3. Pitch is high outside, 1-0. So a leadoff, it always starts with a walk, doesn't it? A leadoff walk to Headley, and after Beltran flied out and Didi struck out, McCann pinch hit a single to left center, and then Drew a line drive ribby double down the right field line. Pitch way inside, 2-0. Garrett Jones is on deck. Remember, he had hit for Chris Young an inning ago. So it'll be a 2-0 to Gardner, with runners at second and third and 2 men out, and the Yankees have tied the game at 2. Now Rodney at the belt, the 2-0. There's a strike, and the count 2-1. Boy, for Drew, can you imagine how good that makes him feel? And he knows how he's suffered with the bat. He was hitting 157 before the game-tying hit. Betances and Miller are both up in the bullpen. Now the pitch. Swung on a ground ball to first. Morrison touches up, and that ends the inning. Well, the Yankees tie it. They get 1 run on 2 hits and leave 2. And now at the end of 8.5 innings of play, we're all tied at 2 on the WFAN New York Yankees radio network, driven by Jeep. Well, Dylan Betances comes on. He pitched an inning last night, and he comes on to face the top of the order, Jackson, Bloomquist, and Cano. And Jackson has been absolutely phenomenal for Seattle tonight. He has 4 hits. He knocked in the second run, and he scored the first run, so he's been the Seattle offense. Susan Waldman is in an alleyway right next to the Yankee dugout.
I am.
And, well, let's get to it. I have a question to ask you. Let's get to it after we see Dellen's first pitch to Jackson. And it's inside 1-0. How great do you think Stephen Drew feels?
Well, you got to feel good for him also, because he's been in that cage every day by himself. He didn't play for a couple of days, working on things. He thought he found some kind of a hitch in his swing, and you got to feel good for him.
There's the 1-0, and it's low in the count, 2-0.
And it's a terribly lonely feeling. He's been a very time, and last year he just had an awful year, and it continued this year. But he knows he's a better player than that. I think he's a better player than that.
It'll be a 2-0 to Jackson. And the pitch inside, 3-0. Left-handed and Seth Smith is on deck to hit for the Mariners, and that's in front of Cano and Cruz. So a leadoff walk to Jackson would be a biggie for Seattle. And by the way, when we left, you hear about A-Rod getting booed. Fernando Rodney really got booed when he left. Here's the 3-0. There's a strike in the count, 3-1.
Well, we had read his numbers as I was coming downstairs. You saw his numbers. He is not automatic at all.
Oh, no. He had 37 base runners in 21 innings. And he will not pitch the 10th. They have the hard-throwing right-handed Tom Wilhelmsen up. The 3-1 is inside, ball 4. So there's the winning run at first. Now, I mentioned, as I seem to mention all the time, it always begins with a walk. Don't forget, that's how the Yankee rally began, with a walk to Headley. So McCann visits the mound. I probably didn't mention that McCann, who hit for Murphy and got a base hit to set up Drew's game-tying base hit. He's behind the dish. Headley at third, Didi at short, Drew at second, Teixeira at first, Jones in left, Gardner in center, Beltran in right, and McCann is catching Betances. And here is a left-handed to Seth Smith to hit for Bloomquist. There goes the runner. Pitch is taken. McCann lost the ball, stolen base.
And he went to throw it, John. He put the ball and went straight up in the air. Tried to switch the ball from the glove to his throwing hand. Went straight up in the air. That's what a good bait. Now, Austin Jackson has not been good with numbers stealing, but that's what you do. You go in the first or second pitch. Rich Donnelly actually went down and got Smith out of the box to tell him what to do.
So you're wondering, is he going to bunt? And that would be the normal thing, to bunt. Then the Yankees would walk Cano and Cruz, and there'd be the bases loaded, one out. So let's see what Smith does. Sometimes Betances, if he's still on 98 up, not so easy to bunt. Smith, the left-hand hitter. Jackson, the winning run at second, no one out. Pitch is low inside, the count 1-1. So Jackson gets his 7th stolen base in 12 attempts. And the winning runs at second with no one out. And it'll be a 1-1. Breaking ball strike 1-2. But the Yankees going to have a decision to make, Susan. Let's say he gets Smith out without the runner moving. Do you walk Cano? And Cruz is on deck. So they have a decision to make. Well, let's see what they do with Smith. Jackson off second, and the pitch has struck him out swinging on the great slider. So there's one away. And here is Cano. Well, what would you do? I want everyone listening. I know it's late, but I want everyone listening. Manage. Do you walk Cano and face the right-hand hitting Cruz? Do you pitch to Robbie? A base hit wins the game. You got to do it now. And Girardi has done nothing as Cano gets into the batter's box.
Well, I would think they're going to pitch to him.
Looks that way right now. So Betances steals, and there's a strike with the old breaking ball. The count 0-1. Robbie is 1 for 4, but he's hit the ball very hard twice. Winning runs at second. That's Austin Jackson. With one out, bottom of the ninth, we're tied at 2. Now Betances steals low, blocked by McCann.
And good job of McCann keeping that ball in front of him. You know, this is what good closers do. I know Betances isn't closing, but you face the heart of the order. That's why you're there. You know, Mariano hated to walk people. When the manager would tell him to put someone on, he would hate that.
That'll be a 1-2 to Robbie. 1-1, excuse me. 1 ball, 1 strike to Robbie. Jackson off second pitch. Caught on him, his fastball up. 1-2.
And that was 99 miles an hour, John. Up. Impossible to hit.
And by the way, you know, I talked about, do you walk Robbie and have him face Cruz? Cruz is 1 for 13 off Betances. But first of all, here is Cano, who can win the game with a base hit. Jackson off second. Didi plays behind the lead. Pitch. Struck him out swinging. Oh, did he throw that ball up and hard. That was 98. Up and away. So 2 away. And that will bring up Cruz. And now, I just gave you the numbers. Now, there's no question that you pitch to Cruz.
Well, it's also Betances has a lot of confidence in himself, and they have confidence in Betances. And if he's 1 for 13, he knows. He probably doesn't know the numbers, but he knows what he's thrown against Cruz.
Now, I would think he'll see the hook a couple of times. A right-hand hitter, and the pitch is swung on and dribbled over the mound. Fielded by Didi. Throws to first in time to end the inning. And let's give credit where credit's due. That was a beautiful play by Didi Gregorius. It was a chopper just over Betances' glove and back of the mound. Didi flipped off bounce on the throw and got him. And Betances pitches out of a runner at second and no one out. Pretty good pitching by Mr. Betances. So the play goes 6-3. No runs, no hits, and one left. And we go to extra innings, free baseball. It's all tied at 2 at the end of 9 on the WFAN New York Yankees radio network, driven by Jeep. Well, Brad Miller goes to short. Remember, Smith hit for Bloomquist. And the pitcher is the tall right-hander and ex-closer, Tom Wilhelmsen, who also throws hard. And Susan, here's another big righty out of their bullpen who throws BBs.
He does indeed. And actually, he was the closer for a couple of years, and then they sent him down because he lost his stuff. And I'm looking at his numbers. 12 innings, 13 hits, only 2 earned runs, ERA of a little over 1. And he's one of those guys who has reconstructed elbows and shoulders and things, was out of baseball for quite a while, came back, became the closer here.
Now we're tied at 2. Boy, did Betances throw that inning. My goodness. And a very nice play by Didi.
Yes, very under control.
Now here's Garrett Jones to lead it off. And the pitch outside. Jones, A-Rod, Teixeira. Here in the 10th inning, we're all tied at 2, thanks to a 2-out base hit by Stephen Drew, a line drive double down the right field line. And it'll be a 1-0. There's a strike. Jones hit for Young in a lefty-righty switch and struck out in the 8th. Lost in all this is a great pitching performance by the kid, Mike Montgomery, who pitched 6 innings, 1 run, 4-hit ball in his first major league game. Here's the 1-1. Hit on the ground over third. There's no one there. It's a base hit to left field. Jones rounds first, but he holds on. No one there. And Jones swung inside out and hit a weak ground ball down the third base line. So the shift that time got the guys who shifted.
And that's the shift giveth and the shift taketh away. And what I'm noticing immediately is that Wilhelmsen doesn't throw as hard as he did. That fastball 93, he threw in the upper 90s when we first saw him when he was closing.
Here is A-Rod, who is 0-for-3 with a walk. The outfield deep and just about straight away. The center fielder Jackson might be a step in left center. The infield is back and bunched up the middle looking for the double play. And Wilhelmsen throws. Caught on a miss, strike 1. Fastball up and in at 94. So Jones is the tie-breaking run at first base with no one out. And now A-Rod, Teixeira, Headley. And the pitch is low outside. And the count 1-1.
Now, if Alex can get a pitch away, that whole right side is all open for him. And you know how strong he is when he goes in that direction.
Well, Morrison holds the runner on. And Cano is shifted toward second. And it'll be a 1-1 to Alex. Swung on and pop foul just to our right. And the count 1-2.
Breaking pitch at 86. So he's mixing it up quite nicely.
The Yankees have Justin Wilson and Andrew Miller. When you're on the road, you can have a save so that they're going to hold Miller out if they ever get the lead. If they get the lead now, you better believe that Miller will be in the bottom of the inning. It'll be a 1-2 to Alex. Jones, the tie-breaking run, leads off first. And the pitch is grounded foul. It's a breaking ball, and he grounded a foul toward third.
Even took something off of that. That came in at 78 miles an hour. Even if you're expecting 86, John, as the last 2 breaking pitches are, that's tough.
Could be A-Rod's last chance to extend his batting streak. He has an 11-game streak on the line. Now the right-hander is set, and the pitch. Swung on and pop foul. First base out of play.
And that was his pitch, 95-mile-an-hour fastball. He was just got underneath that. Players will tell you if they foul a ball straight back, it was their pitch and they missed it.
Now here is the 1-2 as Jones leads off first. Breaking ball is swung on and hit in the air to left. Ruggiano toward left center is there to make the catch. Jones bluffs, and the throw comes into second. So 1 on and 1 out. Here is Teixeira.
And that was right off the end of the bat. He was totally fooled by that breaking pitch coming in at 78, right off the end of the bat, and reach over the plate to make contact with it.
Mark Teixeira ripped a double, batting right-handed to knock in the first Yankee run way back in the third. He's 1 for 4. And the pitch is caught on him. Missed. And the count 0-1.
Well, he's totally reinvented himself, hasn't he, John? Remember when we saw him? He was throwing 97, 98, just throwing fast BBs he was throwing out there. He combined with Steve Delabar for the back end of that bullpen.
That'll be an 0-1 to Teixeira. No overshift, by the way. Pitch, a breaking ball high. And the count 1-1. They play the third baseman, Seager, over in the shortstop hole, so he's way wide of third. But no overshift, and the shortstop Miller plays on the third base side of second. The outfield very deep, trying to cut off the double. We're in the top of the 10th. We're tied at 2. And the pitch is low. And the count 2-1. Chase Headley awaits on deck. The Yankees down 2-1 in the ninth. Got a walk to Headley, and with 2 outs, a pinch hit single by McCann. And then Stephen Drew came through with a ribby double down the right field line. And here we are in the 10th. It'll be a 2-1. Low 3-1.
And you know that he knows what Teixeira's done lately. So it looks like not pitching around him, but giving him nothing to hit.
Well, ball 4 would push the go-ahead run to second. Now they do overshift. And it'll be a 3-1 to Teixeira. Foul back, 3-2. They overshift. I guess they figure that Wilhelmsen will have to come in and Teixeira will be able to pull him. So there's 3 infielders on the right side, and the third baseman Seager plays 90% of the way towards second base. It'll be a 3-2 to Teixeira. Jones leads off first. And the pitch is low, ball 4. Teixeira is on. Jones trots to second, and the Yankees need a base hit from either Headley or Beltran to take the lead. You know, one thing I did say earlier that I can repeat, and I would say it's absolutely true. If the Yankees win this game, no one will remember Didi falling down.
Or Headley's error.
That's right.
Or Jacob Lindgren's error.
So first and second, and 1 man out. Headley 0 for 3 with a walk. He scored the tying run in the 9th inning. Jones off second, Teixeira off first. And the pitch is lined hard right at Morrison. He bobbles it and has nowhere to go. And it's beaten out by Headley. Have you ever seen that before? He hit a bullet at Morrison on one hop. He juggled it, trying to find the ball. There was no one at first base. So Wilhelmsen never left the mound. And the Yankees have the bases loaded and 1 man out. And here's pitching coach Rick Waits. I tell you, what a screwy game.
Boy, and Wilhelmsen, it was like he bought a ticket and was watching it from the stands. I mean, Logan Morrison is there, and even if he had fielded it cleanly, he would have had to run and beat Headley, or he would have had to throw to somebody, and Wilhelmsen was nowhere to be found. He was watching it.
Well, we'll see how they scored. Who cares how they scored, John? Because the bases are loaded, 1 out. The Yankees can take the lead on an out So Waits goes out to talk to Wilhelmsen. 3, 4, 6, 8, 9. They called it a base hit.
Well, there was nobody there anyway, even if he had fielded it cleanly.
As he fielded it in his midsection, he kind of bobbled it, and he had no one to throw to. So the Yanks have the bases loaded, 1 out here in the 10th. Here is Beltran, who is 1 for 4. The Yankees need a fly ball. Pitch is low outside, 1-0.
Isn't it nice to know that other teams also have brain cramps, and it's not just the Yankees?
Well, that was one.
That's awful.
Wilhelmsen is fortunate that George Steinbrenner has just known Seattle and is here.
Boy, Rick Waits came out there like he was loaded for bear. I don't know what he said to him. I'm not that close. But...
So bases loaded, 1 man out. It'll be a 1-0 to Beltran. The Yanks need a fly ball. The pitch is low, 2-0. And with the bases loaded, now he has to throw a strike, or obviously fall behind 3-0. The outfield shortens up. They want to cut off the fly ball single or the line drive single. Bases loaded, 1 man out. It'll be a 2-0 to Beltran. And the pitch, there's a strike, and the count 2-1. But what Beltran did the right thing. He took that pitch, it was away. He's got to look for a pitch he can drive. Doesn't matter which field. He's got to look for a pitch he can hit a fly ball on. Jones off third, Teixeira off second, Headley off first, 1 out, top of the 10th, tied at 2. The Yankees need a fly ball, and then they'll bring in Andrew Miller. It'll be a 2-1. Grounded foul at home plate off his foot, and Beltran goes down.
And he's on all fours now. He's kind of in pain. Steve Donahue and Joe Girardi coming out to see how he is. I think it went off that ankle.
So Stevie is out. Steve Donahue is out. Beltran wears a guard on that foot, but I think it hit the other foot, other leg, I think. So Wilhelmsen, who was down 2-0, now gets back to 2-2. Let's see where the ball hit. I'm looking to read, but now it hit off the foot with the guard, but it hit under the guard right on the top of the foot.
And he's kind of hyperventilating here, taking some deep breaths, trying to get rid of this pain. Oh, that's going to hurt.
Bases loaded, 1 man out, top of the 10th, tied at 2. Garrett Jones is the runner at third. He's the key runner. Teixeira at second, Headley at first. With 1 man out, it'll be a 2-2 to Beltran. Pitch, foul back. He reached across the plate to stay alive and got a piece. So the count remains 2-2.
And good hitters can do that. You're not sure whether it's a strike or not, so you got to protect the plate.
Well, once again, it'll be a 2-2 to Beltran. And he fouled it off again. One thing about Wilhelmsen, give him credit. He was 2-0 on Beltran. He's thrown 4 straight strikes.
Well, you know what, John? It looked like right after he made that little mistake there and just stood there and watched, it looked like it shook him up a little bit. And Rick Waits, pitching coach, came out and said something. And he was angry. He came out sort of stalking out there. But it looked like it took him a couple of pitches to get it together.
The 2-2. Swung on and chopped up the middle. Grabbed at second. Go to short for 1. On to first. Double play. So the Mariners got what they needed. It was a chopper over the mound. It was grabbed by Cano, who flipped to Miller, who threw to first for the 4-6-3 double play. And the Yankees don't score. No runs, 2 hits, and 2 left. And now the end of 9.5 innings of play. We're all tied at 2 on the WFAN New York Yankee Radio Network, driven by Jeep. Now 10 seconds for station ID on the WFAN New York Yankees Radio Network.
The Mets lost to the Padres 7-2, and after the Yankees, it'll be Tony Page on WFAN AM and FM New York.
John Sterling, Susan Waldman back at Safeco. Bottom of the 10th inning, Justin Wilson comes on, a left-hander. Betances goes an inning, no runs, no hits, 2 strikeouts, 1 walk. Here is Kyle Seager, and he takes a fastball high. At first, when the ball was hit, I thought it was going to go through for a 2-run hit. Cano grabbed the ball behind second, and on his way to left center, flipped to Miller, and then it was an easy double play. Beltran doesn't run well, as you know. So, almost, but not quite. And it'll be a 1-0. And there's a strike. It looked like Beltran hit the ball right in front of the plate, and it hopped over the mound, but it wasn't hit hard enough to go through, so Cano ran it down and began the 4-6-3 double play. So the Yankees threaten, but they're still tied here in the bottom of the 10th. The 1-1, Seager swings and misses. Seager is 1 for 4.
And of course, John, you've seen Cano do that a million times. Great play, that little flip in one motion.
That'll be a 1-2. Lefty to lefty, and the pitch outside 2-2. Shift is on for the Yanks. 3 infielders on the right side. It'll be Seager, Weeks, and Morrison, lefty, righty, lefty. Seattle is down to a left-hand hitter on the bench, Dustin Ackley. Here's the 2-2. Line to left field for a base hit. Got a pitch up and away. And Seager put the bat on the ball and lined it to left. So there's the winning run at first with no one out.
95-mile-an-hour fastball that was up and away, and he just put the bat out, as John said. Went right with it.
Now, right-hand hitting Ricky Weeks. Let's see if he bunts. You have a left-hand hitter on deck, Logan Morrison. And then 2 right-hand hitters, Ruggiano and Castillo. So let's see what they do with Ricky Weeks. With Seager at first base. And now Weeks wants to talk to his third base coach, Rich Donnelly. And they meet between third and home.
You know, John, you look at these numbers. Ricky Weeks, who was a very good player, he's hitting 171. He just last year just fell off the table, lost his job in Milwaukee, and here he is, and not hitting here either. He was a very good player.
Tonight, Weeks is 0 for 4. Headley does shorten up at third. And Wilson deals, and he is bunting, and he pops it up. Caught by Wilson. He throws to first, and it's a double play. And it's a double play because of a fabulous catch by Stephen Drew. Drew was covering. Wilson had a dive to catch the ball, and on his stomach he threw badly in the ground, and Drew made a great pickup with his foot on the bag for the double play. Now what a wild game. So the double play goes 1-4. And now Steve Donahue and Joe Girardi trot out. Wilson got hurt when he made the diving catch.
Well, he was prone on
an injury visit.
You know, he might have just wanted a minute to get himself together, or he might have been, couldn't catch his breath. He landed on his chest. But that catch by Drew, 1 foot on the bag, the other towards right field, that glove towards right field to get that.
And Justin Wilson got off the mound, made a full diving catch. Well, what a crazy game. Well, here is Logan Morrison with 2 outs, lefty to lefty. And the pitch there is a strike. That'll be an 0-1. We're in the bottom of the 10th. 2 outs, no one on. And the game obviously is tied at 2. And the pitch is grounded weakly in the infield. Didi fields near first and throws to first in time. And that ends the inning. That goes 6-3. And in the inning, no runs, 1 hit, no one left. We go to the 11th inning. The game tied at 2 on the WFAN New York Yankees radio network, driven by Jeep.
All right, well, Well, Tom Wilhelmsen is taking his warm-up pitches going into his second inning here. We're all tied up. 2 apiece. What a wacky game. This is just a crazy game. There have been sparkling defensive plays. There's been horrid defensive plays. Clutch hitting, non-clutch hitting.
A guy falling down between second and third.
Well, right. What a nutty game.
And here's that guy, Didi Gregorius.
See, if he hits a home run right now, no one will remember that he fell down.
Oh, yeah. I think if the Yankees win the game, no one will remember that he fell down. So here's Didi, the bottom third for the Yanks. And the pitch is a fastball high from Wilhelmsen. 2-10-3 Yanks, 2-12-0 Seattle. We're in the top of the 11th. Brian McCann is on deck. And the 1-0. Hit on the ground wide at third. It's a base hit to left field. So Didi, now one thing we have noticed, Susan, that he is handling the bat a lot better.
Yes. Oh, no, he actually is. And it started actually when the team was in Washington. You could see him working. That's when he had his little tutorial and was talking a lot with Alex about hitting. He works very hard at hitting. He's always here early, doing early things. He's working.
Didi 2 for 3 since coming in the game. Here's McCann, who's 1 for 1. Without McCann, this game is not tied. And McCann asked for time. Drew, who got the big hit to tie the game. But don't forget, there were 2 outs and a runner on, and McCann got a pinch hit, base hit. That set up Drew's hit to tie the game in the 9th. The pitch is a strike. One thing about being on the road, as I mentioned, you have a chance to save the game. So in the 10th inning, if the Yankees had taken the lead, Beltran hit into a double play with the bases loaded, you would have seen Miller in the bottom of the 10th. And if the Yankees take the lead here, well, you see Miller in the bottom of the 11th. So you kind of hold him out until you get the lead. It'll be an 0-1 to McCann. Didi off first. And the pitch is a strike on the outside corner. And the count 0-2.
McCann has been such a groove lately. Today was supposed to be his day off because there's a day game tomorrow. Day game after a night game. So he got tonight off. You hate to take him out of the lineup because he's been hitting so well.
Boy, is that true. It'll be an 0-2. Swung on, double play, ground ball to short. Hit second, throw to first, double play. Miller took it himself. Ground ball, hit second, through to first, 2 away.
Nice play by Miller. Comes across easily. Throws it. Really has a nice throw. He's a good shortstop, Brad Miller. Doesn't hit a lot.
No, 2 away. And here is Stephen Drew. Esmail Rogers in the Yankees bullpen. Unless Drew hits one, Andrew Miller will be coming in. And there's a strike. Drew is 1 for 4, but the one a biggie, a 2-out double in the 9th inning, a line drive down the right field line that tied the game. Now here's the 0-1. Breaking ball missed, 1-1.
Here's the thing about Drew, John. He doesn't have a lot of hits, but the ones he's had have been very clutch. Just thinking about that home run, grand slam.
Well, that won a game. That's why I said the double was his second biggest hit. Here's the 1-1. Grounded foul toward third, and the count 1-2.
Wilhelmsen's breaking pitch, 86 miles an hour. That really has great spin on it.
Now here's the 1-2 to Drew. Breaking balls in the dirt. If I'm correct, and Rogers comes in, that's it till you get to Miller. Now they do have kind of an ace up their sleeve if the game really goes on. If one of those games that goes on and on and on, they can bring in Chris Capuano.
Right.
Now it'll be a 2-2. Line hard. There's a base hit to right field. So the double play really hurt, because that's the kind where you go to third. So a 2-out single by Drew, his second straight hit. Both line drive hits, and here is Brett Gardner.
And I believe that's Joe Beimel up in the Seattle bullpen.
Joe Beimel, a lefty, a veteran, well-traveled lefty.
Well-traveled, yes.
Gardner is 1 for 4. 1 for 4 and a walk. And the pitch is a strike. We're tied at 2. We're in the top of the 11th. There are 2 outs. Drew leads off first. And the 0-1 is outside 1-1.
Now, Castillo tried to frame that. That's the new word everyone's used for a while, because he really tried to frame that, hold it, but home plate umpire not buying it.
Drew, a short lead, inching off first. Here's the first to throw to first, and back is Drew. Garrett Jones on deck if Gardner reaches. Now the right-hander is set. And the pitch is swung on and line toward the gap in left center field. It is a base hit, getting into the gap, but it's cut off by Ruggiano. Gardner goes to second with a double. On to third goes Drew. When the ball was hit, I thought, well, maybe it's going to be in the gap. Could Drew score? But Ruggiano was playing deep, and he cut it off. So Gardner doubles. And the Yankees have second and third, 2 out. Here is Garrett Jones. And Seattle is going to go to the old bullpen, I believe, and bring in the lefty to face Jones. I want to make sure. Yes. This call to the bullpen brought to you by your Joe Beimel has been in 12 games. He has no record, an ERA 2.38. 12 games, 11 innings, 7 hits. 5 walks, 7 strikeouts. So lefty to Garrett Jones. Runners at second and third, 2 out. Wilhelmsen staggered through an inning and 2/3. He gave up 5 hits and 1 walk, saved by 2 double plays. So here's Garrett Jones with runners at second and third, 2 out in the 11th. Tied at 2, lefty to lefty. And Beimel deals outside breaking ball. You know he wants to get Garrett Jones. A-Rod's on deck. And Garrett Jones is 2 for 7 off Beimel.
Yeah, I would have thought he had seen him, both of them being in the National League for so long.
Which I think helps. At least he's seen him. Not anything new. It'll be a 1-0 to Garrett. And the pitch is low 2-0. Now this may help Jones because he's got to see a pitch. Ball clubs don't like to see A-Rod against lefties. Jones is 1 for 2 as a pinch hitter tonight. He stayed in the game to play left field. He's got Drew at third and Gardner at second and 2 men out in the 11th inning. And it'll be a 2-0. And Beimel deals. Swung on and hit in the air to deep right center field. That ball is high. It is far. It is gone. Garrett Jones. You better believe he saw a 2-0 pitch get hit. Garrett keeping up with the Joneses. He leaves his Garrett and drills a 3-run home run in the 11th inning, and the Yankees take a 5-2 lead.
And let me tell you that this dugout is just erupted. I'm about 3 feet, and this screaming you hear is not fans. This is the Yankee dugout right next to me. And they are all over Garrett Jones.
How dramatic for Garrett Jones. His finest moment as a Yankee. A 3-run home run, and the Yankees take a 5-2 lead, and Andrew Miller will be coming in. Here's A-Rod. There's a strike. Well, it doesn't always happen like that, but the count was 2-0. He got a low fastball, and he drove it to right center and out. Well, what a big moment. Can you imagine how happy Garrett Jones is? Oh, my goodness.
You know what, John? He's been playing a lot more, and he started to hit as he is playing more.
The 0-1 is a breaking ball low. And Jack Candy Maldonado informs me that was the Ballantine Blast of the game, brought to you by Ballantine IPA, America's original IPA. Taste a piece of craft beer history. And by the way, I don't recall anyone falling down between second and third.
Not this time.
It'll be a 1-1. And the pitch is low. By the way, that pitching change was also brought to you by Certa Pro Painters, because painting is personal.
They say that home run went 396 feet. But, John, I think since Joe Girardi has gotten him in the lineup more, this is a National League player. He's used to playing every day for years, or at least pinch hitting every day. It's very difficult coming over here and sitting on the bench for 2 weeks at a time.
The 2-1 is foul. First base side out of play. Wow, that was really dramatic. Wow. That was... Well, you're Bimal, you're 2-0. You got to throw him a strike. You don't want to go 3-0 and have to face A-Rod. So he threw one over the dish, and Garrett hit it out. Garrett Jones hits home runs. He had 15 home runs for the Marlins last year, and they play in a very big ballpark. So it'll be a 2-2. On the pitch outside, and the count 3-2.
And that's why he was signed. That's why Brian Cashman went out and got him with that short right field porch. And this was 396 feet here.
That'll be a 3-2 to A-Rod. And Bimal deals. Hit on the ground to short. Backhanded by Miller. Sets and the long throw in time to end the inning. But the Yankees get 3 runs on 4 hits and leave no one. And now the end of 10.5 innings of play. It's the Yankees 5 and Seattle 2 on the WFAN New York Yankees radio network, driven by Jeep. Well, Andrew Miller comes on. He's been perfect, 15 for 15. Workman's Circle Multicare Center sponsors this Yankee Save opportunity. For quality care close to home, choose Workman's Circle Multicare Center. Sweeney informs me that Garrett Jones is at, 119 homers? And 17 off lefties. So Miller comes on. Boy, this is a big night for Stephen Drew and Garrett Jones. My goodness. And Didi as well. Here's Ruggiano to lead off, and the pitch is pop foul out of play. First base side, 0-1. What an exciting win if they get it.
You know what, John, and what Garrett Jones is tremendous. None of this happens without Stephen Drew.
Right. And, of course, Brian McCann's 2-up pinch hit to set up Drew. But you're absolutely right. The 0-1 to Ruggiano, a right-hand hitter. There's a strike, 0-2. If the Yankees win, then Wilson would get the victory. Here is the 0-2. Struck him out swinging. And Miller has some breaking ball,
does he look like he's hardly throwing? I mean, he's throwing 95, but he looks like he's like no effort. Some guys are max effort. He looks like he's just playing catch.
He really does. It reminds me of Ted Lilly. He really looks like he's playing catch. That's right. Now 1 away, and that will bring up Castillo. And the pitch is grounded foul. Is that Flores in right field? It is.
Yes, it is.
Excuse me? Oh, they put Jones in right where he's more accustomed. And Flores, who's more accustomed playing left, is there as Beltran comes out. So the outfield, Flores in left, Gardner in center, and Jones in right. It'll be an 0-1 to Castillo, and the pitch is inside. And the count 1-1.
You know, the first 2 months of the season, John, I had a lot of talks with Garrett Jones. He knew he was a better hitter than what he was doing, but I really believe you can't play guys who've never sat on the bench before once a week or once every 2 weeks.
Pitch is inside, 2-1.
And I think Joe knew that too, which is why he's starting to get more time.
Now Miller is set to be a 2-1 to the right-hand hitting catcher. And the pitch is hit on the ground wide to third, and a base hit to left field. Past the dive of Headley. So Castillo is on with a hard single in the shortstop hole. 1-on-1 out, and here is Austin Jackson, who's had a perfect night. He's doubled, singled, and walked. That's the 13th hit by Seattle. The pitch to Jackson is inside, 1-0.
17 hits between the two teams. Yankees have 14, Mariners 13.
And until Jones' 3-run home run, very few runs.
Right.
That'll be a 1-0 to Austin Jackson. And the pitch is low inside. Teixeira doesn't play the runner. He plays behind him. That run means nothing at all. Yankees have a 5-2 lead on the 3-run bombaroo by Garrett Jones in the top of the inning. So Miller behind 2-0. And the pitch, there's a strike. There's a fastball in the outside corner. And I've said this a few times. Miller looks like he has the ability to throw a strike whenever he needs to. And he goes behind, he just throws a strike. No, he's behind Austin Jackson 2-1, and the pitch is inside 3-1. Now, one thing, this game isn't over. If Jackson gets on, then the tying run comes up, and one batter after Miller is Robbie Cano. 3-1 is way inside. I think it hit him actually. So the tying run will come to the plate. Here's left-hand hitting Brad Miller.
And McCann going out to talk to Miller. It'll be Miller against Miller. And sometimes Andrew Miller, we've seen this before, he can get a little wild in the zone.
Well, let's face it, some nights it's just not that easy. Brad Miller is at 226, but he has 5 home runs, so he's got some pop. Lefty to lefty. The Yankees have a 5-2 lead, but there are 2 runners on with 1 out. And the pitch, breaking ball, strike, 0-1. Unless the Yankees get fortunate and Miller hits a new double play, Robbie Cano would be the tying run. And if he gets on, Nelson Cruz. So it ain't over yet. And it'll be an 0-1. And the pitch low, and the count 1-1. 5-2 Yankees, bottom of the 11th, 2 on a single, and either a walk or hit batsman. It was on a 3-2 pitch, so he was going to walk anyway. Here's the 1-1 Brad Miller. A high pop in back of second. Infield fly rule call. Didi is out, and he makes the catch. And they're a 2-way. However, here comes our old friend Robbie Cano.
This is perfect, isn't it?
And scary.
Yeah.
So here is Cano, who has struck out, single, flied out, and struck out. Miller to Cano with the game on the line. 2 on, 2 out. Robbie is the tying run. And the pitch is hit on the ground in the hole. It's a base hit to left field. A run scores. And that is Castillo. Stopping at second is Jackson. It's a ribby for Robbie. An RBI base hit. It's 5-3. And Nelson Cruz is up. And guess who Nelson Cruz is? He's the winning run.
And that was not a terrible pitch by Miller, but Robbie is so adept with that bat. You can see it coming around. You know he wants to do well with the Yankees in town. Right off the end of the bat. And he's so strong, he just got it out there right past Didi, but right off the end of the bat.
And you know what? He was 1 for 13 against Miller before then. Well, here's the winning run. Nelson Cruz with 2 on and 2 out. Yankees with a 5-3 lead. The tying runs are on. Cruz the winning run, and the pitch is caught on and missed. He threw a fastball low and away. It's 5-3 Yanks in the bottom of the 11th. Jackson at second, Cano at first, 2 outs pitch. Half swing, did he go? I guess not.
Guess not.
And the count 1-1. I didn't see anyone move.
No, nobody moved. Nobody asked anybody. Nobody moved.
Cruz, if you're wondering, 1 for 3 against Andrew Miller. So it'll be a 1-1 to Nelson. Runners lead at first and second, 2 out. And Andrew Miller's 1-1. Strike fastball. 97 on the outside corner. And the count 1-2, and the Yankees are a strike away. Now Andrew wants to talk to Brian McCann.
So he's pitched him down and in. And then that fastball just 97 right over the outside part of the plate.
That'll be a 1-2 to Cruz, and the pitch is a bouncer up there, 2-2. You know, normally you'd say, look, why are you pitching to Cruz? But there's a very good reason. There's an awfully good hitter up next, Kyle Seager, and if Cruz would walk, well, that would push the tying run to second base. Then you're just talking about a single. So you got to go after Cruz. You know, it's too bad this game is on so late back east. This is one of the best games of the year.
Tremendous game.
I'll be a 2-2 to Cruz. 2 on, 2 out. 5-3 Yanks. Bottom of the 11th pitch. Struck him out swinging. Ball game over. Yankees win. The Yankees win. Well, this game had everything. Absolutely everything. And the Yankees on the 3-run bomb by Garrett Jones in the top of the 11th. On the 2-out RBI double by Stephen Drew in the 9th. 1 ties the game, 1 wins the game, and the Yankees win the ball game 5-3. And with Tampa winning, they retain their 1-game lead in first place. We will hold it here for Susan Starr.
Okay, John, we'll throw back upstairs to you.
Well, the Yankees win at 5-3, and we will get back with the totals in just a moment on the WFAN New York Yankees radio network, driven by Jeep. Well, we're back in Safeco in Seattle after one of the most entertaining games of the year. A terrific game, back and forth. So many plays to talk about. Yankees get a 3-run home run from Garrett Jones in the 11th and hang on to win 5-3 in 11 innings. One of the sweetest wins of the year. Here are the totals in the game. For the Yankees, 5 runs, 14 hits, 3 errors, they left 10. For Seattle, 3 runs, 14 hits, no errors, and they left 13. Justin Wilson is the winner. He is 2-0. Andrew Miller gets his 16th save. He's 16 out of 16. And Tom Wilhelmsen loses. He's 1-1. With the victory, the Yankees go to 28-25. They're in first place by 1 game over Tampa. And Seattle drops to 24-28. The time of the game, 3 hours and 55 minutes. The attendance, 27,442. And once again, in 11 innings of play, the Yankees 5 and Seattle 3. New York Yankees baseball is a production of Sports Radio 66 and 101.9 FM WFA.
Visit Foxwoods.com. Your Tri-State Ford dealers. New York Presbyterian Hospital, the official hospital of the New York Yankees. Barnabas Health, New Jersey's largest hospital and healthcare system. Domino's Pizza, the official pizza of the New York Yankees radio network. The New York Post, bringing you the best sports in town every day. Your Tri-State Hyundai dealers.